Under Senator Loba, there is a message I want to read. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate. This is a message from the National Assembly, which is the decision of the National Assembly on the President's reservations to the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills, number 12 of 2023. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3 and 4, I have received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the decision of the National Assembly on the President's reservations to the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023. The message, dated Tuesday, 3 June 2025, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Wednesday, 4 June 2025. The message, pursuant to Standing Order 46.4, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 154 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023 was published by the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 41 of 3rd April 2023 as a bill seeking to provide for the management and the regulation of conflict of interest in the discharge of official duties, and was passed by the Houses of Parliament in accordance with the provisions of Article 113 of the Constitution and subsequently presented for assent. And whereas on 30th April 2025, His Excellency the President referred the bill back to Parliament for reconsideration in accordance with the provisions of Article 115 of the Constitution. Further, whereas the National Assembly considered the President's reservations to the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, and passed the bill a second time with amendments on Tuesday, 3 June 2025, thus fully accommodating the President's reservations. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 115 of the Constitution and Standing Order 41.1 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the same decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Honorable Senators, as you are aware, the Senate was seized of the President's memorandum on 30th April 2025, and the matter was subsequently referred to the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights for consideration and reporting. The committee, through a motion, sought and was granted an extension of time by a further 45 calendar days on 20th May 2025 to enable the committee conclude its deliberations and table its report. I urge the committee to expedite the consideration of the President's reservations. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights. Or a member of the committee. Deputy Majority Whip, kindly read this, the paper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 5th June 2025. A report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on a petition to the Senate by Ms. Christine Njoki Mweru regarding incomplete investigations, failure to arrest and prosecute suspects involved in the abduction and disappearance of Mr. Joshua Kishuki Mwangi. I beg to lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Again, Senator Lengwe, give notice of that motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on a petition to the Senate by Ms. Christine Njoki Mweru regarding incomplete investigations and failure to arrest and prosecute suspects involved in the abduction and disappearance of Mr. Joshua Gichuki Mwangi, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 5th June 2025.
Thank you. Before we go to the next order, let me make this communication. This communication is on the visiting teachers and students from Rodagati High School in Nyeri County. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from Rodagati High School in Nyeri County. The delegation comprises 75 students and 3 teachers who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our ancient tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Just 1 minute is enough.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, I'm delighted today because this is my former school. I went to Rodagati Secondary School.
If it's your former school, 2 minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, I'm a proud former student of Rodagati Secondary School, and today I'm very proud to see young boys from my former school coming to the Senate and finding one of the Senator of Nyeri County is a former student of Rodagati. I would want to encourage them and really indeed tell them that we live in a country that gives every person, every child, regardless of where they come from, an opportunity to serve this country. Rodagati was and still is one of the best day schools, now a boarding school in Nyeri County. And Mr. Speaker, this is an extra county school that produces some of the best scholars and has produced quite a number of scholars, including myself. And today marks that day that my boys from that school have come to visit the Senate, only to find a former boy sitting here as the senator. And I want to encourage them. Work hard, be diligent in whatever you do, obey your teachers, your parents, and you should know that the sky is the limit. And me standing here today is a proof enough that you can become whatever you want to be because you are the bearer of your vision, and let nobody tell you because you did not go to one of those big names that you cannot become somebody in this country. I am a senator and a commissioner at the same time, and I'm very, very proud today to welcome you here, to encourage you to learn, and most importantly to tell you that yes, indeed, your future lies in your hands, and you can chase after your dreams, and you can become whatever you want to become. In the Senate, which is the upper house, we are 67 senators, and one of them comes from your school, and therefore, that should be a motivation enough for you to go and work very, very, very hard. I'll be seeing you out there to share with you a word or two, and indeed, I'll also be coming to visit your school because I remember I promised you a shaker. I've already bought it. It's at home. I'll be bringing it in the next couple of days. And welcome to the Senate, and I'll be seeing you later. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
We have statements under standing order 53-1. Senator Kavidu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for a request of a statement on the state of stadiums facilities in Machakos County. Mr. Speaker, I arise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Roads, Transportation and Housing on the matter of county-wide concern, namely the construction of stadiums in Machakos County. Mr. Speaker, the county government of Machakos in January 2019 awarded contracts for construction of Masi and Mavoko stadiums to a local firm at contract sums of 49,475,479 and 44,616,635 respectively. However, construction works at both stadiums stalled, and the contractor abandoned the respective site. Further, the county, through the Department of Tourism and Sports, entered into contract with the designing and building of Kinyui Stadium at a contract price of 49,906,656 in the financial year 2018-2019. With the initial contract period of 3 years, which has since expired. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, the current status of construction in Masi, Mavoko, and Kinyui stadiums, including progress made since contractors abandoned the site. The reasons. 2, the reasons for the stalling of construction works at the 3 stadiums and the prolonged abandonment of the sites by the contractors. 3, a breakdown of funds disbursed to the contractors to date for each of the projects, and indicate whether there has been any loss of public funds in stalled projects. 4, the measures taken by the county government to hold the contracted firms accountable for abandoning the projects, including any penalties, legal action, and contract termination proceedings. 5, whether there are any concrete plans to revive, retender, and or complete the construction of the stadiums and provide timelines of the same. Mr. Speaker, I have another one. Request for statement on public health risks and consumption of food crops irrigated within contaminated water in the Nairobi metropolitan area. Mr. Speaker, I arise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Health on the matter of national concern regarding public health risks associated with the use of contaminated water from the Nairobi, Ngong, and Athi River from the irrigation of food crops in areas such as Kitengela, Athi River Town, Great Wall area, Kibera, Kamulu, Mailisaba, and the surrounding communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is increasing concerns that untreated wastewater and industrial influents are being used to irrigate food crops such as vegetables and tuber crops, which are later sold in local markets and major supermarkets. Studies have indicated the presence of heavy metals like lead, cadmium, and mercury as well as microbial pathogen in the water and soil used to cultivate. Consumption of such produce poses serious health risks, particularly to children and expectant mothers. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, measures being implemented by the State Department of Public Health and professional standards in the Ministry of Health to prevent the irrigation of food crops using contaminated water within the Nairobi metropolitan areas and ensure that food sold to the public is safe. 2, the surveillance and regulatory mechanism in place to test and monitor vegetables and tuber crops sold in both normal and formal markets for contamination of heavy metals and pathogens. 3, whether the ministry has conducted any health impact assessment on the consumption of crops irrigated with polluted water in the affected regions, including findings and subsequent action taken. 4, information of public education initiatives, enforcement measures against violators, and strategies being implemented to secure the food supply chain from contaminated produce. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senator Agnes Kavindo Mudhama, Senator Machakos County.
Senator Murango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 2 statements arising from a crisis in Kirinyaga County. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture and Fisheries on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the drastic reduction in milk collection volumes from Kirema Syrups Dairy Cooperative Societies in Kirinyaga County by the new cooperative creameries KCC at Meru Central Dairy Union. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kirema Syrups Dairy Cooperative represents over 6,000 smallholder farmers and has consistently delivered 75,000 liters of milk per day. Mr. Speaker, 45,000 liters to KCC and 30,000 liters to Meru Central Dairy Union. However, these volumes have been slashed drastically without prior consultation or justification. Meru Central Dairy Union issued a 1-day notice limiting intake to 15,000 liters, while KCC has further reduced their correction to 25,000 liters. This abrupt action has created a surplus of 35,000 liters per day, overwhelming storage capacity and leading to direct losses estimated to be 2 million shillings daily. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, reasons behind the abrupt reduction in milk correction by new KCC and Meru Central Dairy Union from Kirema Syrups Dairy Cooperative, and why affected farmers were not given adequate notice or alternative arrangement despite having a contract. 2, why suppliers outside Meru County, especially in Kirinyaga, are being affected or penalized despite their loyalty during dry seasons, while milk collection continues uninterrupted in most of the regions. 3, immediate and long-term measures the State Department of Livestock is taking to absorb surplus milk, including efforts to expand cooling infrastructure in Kirinyaga and provide timely market access to prevent post-harvest losses. And 4, policy interventions in place to protect small-scale dairy cooperatives from sudden harmful disruptions in supply chains and ensure their stability and sustainability. And lastly, the government strategies to regulate milk and dairy imports from Uganda, including safeguards to protect local producers and processors from unfair competition. My second statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, is on the directive mandating direct payment of coffee sales proceeds from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange to individual farmers. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise again pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agricultural and Fisheries on a matter of national concern regarding the directive issued by Minister of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development on 18th November 2024, mandating direct payment of coffee sales proceeds from Nairobi Coffee Exchange to individual farmers. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, whether the ministry undertook consultation with coffee cooperative societies and other relevant stakeholders before issuing the directive mandating direct payment of coffee sales proceeds from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange to individual farmers, and if so, obtain information on the same. 2, whether the directive aligns with the provision of Cooperative Societies Act and the Constitution of Kenya, and specifically how the directives impacts the constitutionally guaranteed freedom of association. 3, the economic and structural impact of the directive on coffee cooperative societies, including the measures in place to safeguard the future of these cooperative societies, which provide essential services to the farmers. 4, the measures in place to cushion small-scale farmers, particularly those producing less than 200 kilograms of coffee cherry annually, from increased transaction charges and other diverse effects associated with the piecemeal payments, including limited bargaining power. And lastly, whether the ministry can consider a review or suspension of the directive to allow for wider consultations to ensure that the directive does not compromise the integrity of coffee value chain. Signed by Senator Murango from Kirinyaga County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. A request for a statement on the shortage of newborn vaccines, BCG and polio in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the ongoing shortage of essential newborn vaccines, specifically Besiles, Calmette, Quirin, BCG, on oral polio vaccines, OPV, in medical facilities across the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is growing concern among parents and healthcare providers over the persistence and availability on those critical vaccines. The BCG and OPV vaccines are vital in protecting infants against tuberculosis and polio, which continues to pose significant health risks, particularly in vulnerable communities. The current shortage undermines the national immunization program and threatens to reverse decades of progress in child health and disease prevention. In the statement, the committee should address the following. A cause of the shortage of BCG and polio vaccines in Kenya, including financial constraints, currently procurement challenges, and logistics handles in vaccine supply and distribution. 2, the steps being undertaken by the Ministry of Health and timelines to resolve the shortage and restore vaccines availability in all affected facilities. 3, Honorable Speaker, measures in place to strengthen the national vaccine supply system, including coordinations with county governments to ensure stability and avoid future stock out. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next is Senator Andy Okech.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Speaker. I approached you on the request by Senator Eddie Okech that I read out his statements, and Honorable Speaker, you allowed me. And Honorable Speaker, with that approval, allow me to read the 4 statements by Senator Eddie Okech in the order in which they appear.
Yes, proceed.
Honorable Speaker.
Very well.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, the first statement is a request for a statement on the formation of the Mining Police Unit. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a matter of national concern regarding the formation of the Mining Police Unit to help curb illegal mining, smuggling, and money laundering within the mining sector. In the statement, the committee should address the following, Mr. Speaker, sir. 1, the legal basis and justification for the formation of the Mining Police Unit. 2, how the roles played by the Mining Police Unit differ from those of the inspectors of mines under the Mining Act. 3, the number of cases handled by the unit so far, including details on the quantity of illegal mined minerals recovered and the status of prosecution of the responsible individuals. 4, the measures in place to protect artisanal and small-scale miners from harassment by the officers in the Mining Police Unit, including details on the reporting mechanism for such statement. Senator Eddie Okech, MP, the Senator for Migori County. Statement 2, Honorable Speaker, is a request for a statement on the basis for the Cabinet decision to declare 14 minerals as strategic. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Orders 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a matter of national concern regarding the basis for the Cabinet decisions of the 3rd October 2023 to declare radioactive mineral uranium, thorium, nickel, cobalt, graphite, tantalum, tin, lithium, severite, coltan, chromite, niobium, rare earths, and copper as strategic minerals. In the statement, the committee should address the following. Details on the advisory by the Mineral Rights Board and the Director of Mines on the declaration of the 14 minerals as strategic, including an assessment of the legal standing of the advisory by the Mineral Rights Board, which did not have a chairperson appointed by the President at the time. 2, whether the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs also relied upon input from other relevant stakeholders in his request to the Cabinet to declare the minerals as strategic, and if so, provide details on such input. 3, the alternative livelihood options and other support mechanisms the government has provided to miners adversely affected by the declaration of the 14 minerals as strategic. Senator Eddie Okech, MP, Senator for Migori County. The third statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a request for a statement on the status of artisanal and small-scale mining in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a matter of national concern regarding the state of artisanal and small-scale mining in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, in October 2023, the Cabinet vacated the prohibition on mining using traditional and customary means, also known as artisanal mining. However, little progress has been observed in onboarding artisanal and small-scale miners into the mainstream mining sector in Kenya. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, the number and identities of artisanal and small-scale miners granted mining permits in each county since the Cabinet decision to vacate the prohibitions on artisanal mining. 2, the actions being taken by the government to address delays in processing applications for artisanal mining permits. Lastly, the delay in operationalization of the already gazetted 32 artisanal mining committees, which are supposed to advise on grant, renewal, and revocation of artisanal mining permits in respective counties. Senator Eddie Okech, MP, Senator for Migori County. And Honorable Speaker, the last statement is a request for a statement on the failure by the government to publish the findings of the aerial geophysical survey of Kenya's mineral resources. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a matter of national concern regarding the failure by the government to publish the findings of the aerial geophysical survey of Kenya's mineral resources undertaken between the year 2019 and 2022. In the statement, the committee should address the following: the findings of the aerial geophysical survey of Kenya's mineral resources undertaken between 2019 and 2022. 2, the reasons for the failure by the government to publish the said findings, including the projected timelines for such publication. Senator Eddie Okech, MP, Senator for Migori County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Before we go to the, let's get these statements pursuant to Standing Order 57-1, Majority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Leader of the Majority, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 57-1 to hereby present the business of the House in the week commencing Tuesday, 10th June 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, the status of the business pending before the Senate includes 153 bills, of which 37 are at the second reading stage and 16 are at the committee of the whole stage. 32 motions are pending conclusion. 27 petitions are pending conclusion, out of which, Mr. Speaker, 17 are due for reporting by the respective standing committees, and 485 statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 are under consideration by the respective standing committees, Mr. Speaker. On Tuesday, 10th June 2025, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider the business for the week. The tentative business for that day will include business not concluded from today's order paper, as well as the business indicated in the notice paper. 4, the tentative business for the morning sitting on Wednesday, 11th June 2025 will include the schedule of questions and cabinet secretaries as approved by the Senate Business Committee, as well as motions. The questions will include the following. Question number 66 to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, by Senator Joyce Korir, CBS MP. Question 43 to the Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Planning, by Senator Edwin Sifuna, CBS MP. 39 to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, by Senator Daniel Maozo, EBS MP. Question 67 to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, by Senator Joyce Korir, CBS MP. Question 67 to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, by Senator Joyce Korir, CBS MP. Question number 13 and 18 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator James Murango, MP. Question 26 to the Cabinet Secretary for the Interior and National Administration by Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, CBS MP. Question 28 and 29 and 80 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Professor Tom Ojienda, Senior Counsel, MP. Question number 41 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Daniel Maonzo, EBS MP. Question number 44 to the Cabinet Secretary to Interior for Administration by Senator Edwin Sifuna, CBS MP. Question number 49 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Shakila Abdallah, MP. Question number 51 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Catherine Muma, MP. Question number 54, 56, 59 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator James Lomenen, MP. Question number 62 to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration by Senator Joyce Korir, CBS MP. And finally, to the same minister, question by Senator Kaduri Murungi, MGH, MP, Deputy Speaker. Mr. Speaker, some progress has been made on processing of bills and motions, but what is pending for consideration is still very high. As such, the tentative business of the afternoon sitting on Wednesday, 11th June 2025 will include business not included for Tuesday's order paper and the following. A, on bills. Bills at the second reading stage. The county government's Senate Bills number 34 of 2024, the County Government's Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 39 of 2024, the Labor Migration and Management Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2024, and the Street Naming and Property Addressing Systems Bill, Senate Bills number 43 of 2024. B are bills at the Committee of the Whole. These include the Early Childhood Development Education Amendment Bill, the Local Content Bill, the Street Vendors Bill, the Sports Amendment Bill, the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, the Public Fundraising Appeals Bill, the Heritage and Museums Bill, the Environment Laws Amendment Bill, the County Library Services Bill, the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, the Creative Economy Support Bill, the Cooperative Bill, the County Government's Election Laws Amendment Bill. Mr. Speaker, we also have motions, namely the motion on the report of the Liaison Committee on the activities and operations of the select committees during the third session of 2024. 2, report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiry into the state of governance in the county governments of Garissa arising from a statement that was sought by Senator Abdul Haji, MP. 3, report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiry into the state of the markets in Vihiga and Bungoma counties arising from a statement sought by Senator Godfrey Osotsi, MP, and Senator David Wakoli, MP. Fourthly, the motion on the progress report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, equal opportunity and regional integration, on the inquiry into the diversity and inclusivity in the staff composition of state agencies in Kenya. With respect to the aforementioned bills at the Committee of the Whole, I'd like to urge the respective standing committees to prioritize their consideration and to file reports thereon within timelines specified under the Senate standing orders. I also urge all senators attending to file amendments to the same within reasonable time for the Senate to be able to dispense with the bills at the Committee of the Whole. The projected business for Thursday, 12th June 2025 will include business not concluded from Wednesday's order paper and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, as honorable senators will note, the Senate will proceed on recess on the 13th of June 2025 pursuant to the standing Senate calendar. As such, I will move a motion of adjournment on the 12th of June 2025 for the Senate to adjourn until the next part of the session. In this regard, I urge all of us to take advantage of the available time to conclude on business pending before the Senate. Mr. Speaker, in a small addition, we, the members of the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget, feel truly constrained by this calendar. We have requested, Mr. Speaker, that the chairman requests your committee to ensure that the calendar should be sensitive to the constitutional timelines. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and hereby lay the statement on the table of the Senate today, 5th of June, 2025. Why is the senator of...
Yes, Senator Enoch.
Mr. Speaker, you know when Senator Boni Alwele, and you should know this better than anyone else, when he was reading that statement under 57, he was doing it as the majority leader. Now he switches on the floor and starts addressing the Senate as a member of a committee. Mr. Speaker, that is not procedure, it's not allowed.
Yeah, I think even the Lekond itself did not capture what he said. Because the chairman is here and he cannot talk on behalf of the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee. So I think, Bonnie, next time I will give that responsibility to your deputy, Dr. Lelengwe, to do that work in the absence of the majority leader. You have fired yourself. Now, on my screen, there are several requests. So, is it to make a comment brief on the statements, or to you are queuing for order number 9, which I know it has a lot of attention? Senator Mondigi Alexander Munyi. 2 minutes, kindly.
Okay, Bwana Speaker, ni asante kwa kunipa ruhusa niweze kuchangia statement ambayo imeletwa na Senator wa Kirinyaga, Senator Murango, kuhusu mambo ya masiwa. Mambo ya masiwa iko katika kilimo na katika kamati ile niko ya agriculture. Lakini mambo ya ajabu, Bwana Speaker, wakulima wanaumia sana, wale wanalima wako na ng'ombe na pia kukamua ng'ombe na pia na mbuzi na kuuza masiwa KCC. Kwa wiki kadhaa kumetokea kisanga na vita nyingi katika kaunti ya Embu na kaunti zile zingine. Wakati ulikuwa na lia masiwa iweze kupata pesa ile inapatikana na rais wa Kenya, na pia CS wa cooperative walikuwa yasema masiwa itatoka shilingi 50 per 1 liter. Lakini mambo ya ajabu, na sisi tulikuwa na ngangana hata mkulima aweze kupunguziwa mambo ya chakula ya ng'ombe na pia na dawa siweze kurudi chini, ndio mkulima aweze kufaidika na bei. Bwana Spika, saa hii ukienda mlima kuna maziwa ama kuna zile zingine zote, aswa mahali najua Embu, Kirinyaga, Tharaka Nithi, Meru na pia Nyeri, unakuta maziwa imeleta shinda KCC. Ayo mahali maziwa inawekwa hawaete kusukua, maziwa imekuwa nyingi, bei ilikuwa juu. Bwana Spika, ni kitu ya usuni kwa sababu wakulima wa maziwa wanateseka, wanaumia. Mambo ya ajabu, hizo county wale walikuwa na maroni sasa hivi wameshindwa kulipa ile ndeni, wale walikuwa nalipa school fees wameshindwa, wale walikuwa nataka pesa ya kwenda hospitali wameshindwa. Bwana Spika, ningeomba tuweze kuonekana vile wasiri wa kilimo na pia wa cooperative waweze kuangaliwa nini naendelea, kwa sababu saa hii rais alisema maziwa, hakuna maziwa itanunuliwa bei kuliko shilingi 50. Hiyo ingine nikimalizia Bwana Spika, mpaka wasiri anaweza kuwa summon na hii Senate akuja njipu ni nini inaendelea, wakati rais anasema maziwa inafaa iwe juu na inakuwa chini. Wakati huu nikimalizia Bwana Spika, ni wakati nakumbuka katika kamati ya REPA kuna pesa ambaye niyo KCC haikulima.
Senator Mudigi, samani kidogo tupate hoja ya nidhamu. Yeah.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Ningependa kuuliza Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Mudigi mwenye ameleta hii mjadala hajaongelelea mambo ya mlima. Lakini Mheshimiwa Mudigi, nataka kujua Mheshimiwa Spika kama ni kweli ya kwamba mambo ya maziwa ni shida ambayo ni ya mlima peke yake. Atuelezee kwa upana.
Na mlima ni wapi?
Hiyo mlima.
Senator Mudigi, mpatie.
Asante Bwana Spika, mambo ya mlima nimesema kulingana na njua maziwa inalimwa katika Kenya mzima, lakini pahali maziwa imekuwa shinda ni katika mlima Embu, Tharaka Nithi, Meru, Kirinyaga. Kwa hivyo mimi nimesema ile kona ambaye najua iko na shinda, kwa sababu nataka nimjibu kama mambo ya kahawa, kama mlima inatoka shilingi 100.
Senator Mudigi, Senator Mudigi, Senator Mudigi ameuliza mlima ni wapi? Ni mlima upi unaita mlima? Just kwa
mlima katika Kenya kuna regions. Mount Kenya ndio mlima, na mlima mnajua katika Kenya saa hii serikali ya Kenya kwanza, rais wa Kenya
Senator Mwaruma Jones Mashushe. Senator Mwaruma.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to comment on a statement by Senator Eddie Okech on artisanal miners. Mr. Speaker, I have a statement like this one, which has not been responded to, because we have always raised concern why, or the rationale and justification of classifying some minerals as artisanal, as strategic minerals, which will only be mined by NAMICO, or National Mining Corporation. Mr. Speaker, we've asked about the rationale, and we have asked if there has been adequate stakeholder involvement in classifying these minerals, because where I come from, which is Taita Taveta, Mr. Speaker, people are really worried, the ones who deal with artisanal mining, especially of savorite. Mr. Speaker, they are worried because if they start dealing with savorite, they might be harassed by the policemen. And so we want to get this response plus the response to my statement or similar statement which I raised in this House. Mr. Speaker, I don't know if NAMICO has capacity to do mining in the whole of Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, the other statement is about the information or the data that has been done by the aerial survey on minerals in Kenya. That data is there, and I don't know who it is helping because that information has not been publicized. It needs to be published so that counties or people or investors who want to deal with minerals or to mine can use that information for the sake of abstracting the minerals so that they can help the counties, because there's a revenue sharing formula between the national government, the counties, and the people, Mr. Speaker. So we need this information as fast as possible. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mboni Galwale.
Mr. Speaker, following COVID, Mr. Speaker, lessons were drawn, and the government responded by establishing the Kenya Biovax Institute that was supposed to preside over manufacture, packaging, and commercialization of believable vaccines that we are aware the Senator of Kajiado has drawn the attention of the country to. It is indeed very sad. I would like that the committee, over and above the issues raised by the Senator of Kajiado, should also tell us the amount of investment that was put into establishment of the Kenya Biovax vaccine, to give us the establishment in terms of human resource in that institute, and also tell us how much success has been achieved out of the envisaged functions of the institute, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I say this with a very heavy heart, that the children of the poor in this country are now going to be brought down by polio, by tuberculosis, by diphtheria, by tetanus, all of them which are preventable things that the medical profession had been able to put into the past. My second comment, Mr. Speaker, is on the matter raised by the Senator of Machakos on the status of various stadia in her county. Mr. Speaker, I remember on 1st of January this year, 6 months ago, the President himself toured Buhungu Stadium, invited the contractor to come on site, and Mr. Speaker, it's amazing.
Senator Joe Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And I want to comment on the statement made by Senator Murango of Kirinyaga County regarding the reduction of milk uptake from Kirima Dairy, Slopes Dairy, by Meru Central Dairy and KCC, Mr. Speaker. The reduction is very drastic by Meru Central Dairy from 30,000 liters a day to 15,000 liters a day. By KCC from 75,000 to 25,000 liters a day. You can only imagine what is happening to these farmers and what they are doing with the excess supply of milk. Mr. Speaker, although Senator Joyce Corriel does not want to hear anybody mentioning Murima, but I want to remind her, and I say this because this is something that is happening in Murima, Mr. Speaker, that we are elected to represent different counties, our individual counties. If I'm elected to represent Muranga, I have to speak for Muranga, Mr. Speaker, because the senator for Turkana can speak for the people of Turkana, even as we look at matters nationally. And so, Mr. Speaker, we hope that this is not a scheme to, Mr. Speaker, to then impoverish the people from the said particular region. Mr. Speaker, I think it's also very important that we deal with the matter of import of milk from Uganda. We should not expose our farmers through importation of milk from Uganda, Mr. Speaker. And I also want to comment about Senator Murango's second statement about the recent directive by the Ministry of Cooperatives to pay directly, coffee farmers directly from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. This is something which, if implemented, then will kill cooperative societies. And Mr. Speaker, small-scale farmers.
Honorable Senators, you should train your eyes on the lights so that you don't overrun the highway. Senator Wambua Enoch.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to make a comment on the statement raised by Senator Agnes Kavindu of Machakos concerning the construction of stadiums in Machakos County. Mr. Speaker, there's a reason why the Constitution of Kenya 2010 under the fourth schedule, part 2, allocates the role of construction of stadiums to county governments. Mr. Speaker, this is because it is expected that the county governments will make investments in stadiums to tap into the talent of local youth and make them be engaged in profitable ways, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when the committee that will be seized of this statement, if they choose then to visit those 2 stadiums identified by Senator Kavindu, I will request that the committee should extend that visit to cover the region, the Lower Eastern region, the Speaker, of Kitui, Makueni, and Machakos. I say this, Mr. Speaker, because since independence, these 3 counties have never had what you would call a real stadium, where our youths can exploit their talents, where we can have serious meetings with the Speaker. And now, Mr. Speaker, because I know where we are going, we will need to have a lot of these spaces where a lot of these things, including public meetings, can happen. It will be important to have these counties invest more of their resources in constructing stadiums in that region. The Speaker.
Senator Nderito John Kenywa.
Asanti Bwana Spika kunipa fursa hii. Nataka kuunga mkono taarifa iliyoletwa na Senator Kirinyaga kuhusu ukulima wa maziwa. Bwana Spika, ni kinaya kwa sababu katika Jamhuri ya Kenya serikali imejitolea mhanga kwa kupatiana pembejeo, mbegu za kisasa. Hata unapata kuna mambo mengi kumeletwa, wanakumbatia mambo ya teknolojia. Lakini ni jambo la kuvunja moyo sana ikiwa mambo hayo yatafanywa, alafu unapata shirika ambayo imepewa jukumu la kushughulikia mambo ya wakulima hasa maziwa, unapata wafanyi yale ambayo yanapaswa kuwa yakifanywa, kwa sababu wakulima wakati huu ukitembelea sehemu ya Kirinyaga, uende sehemu ya Nyeri, uende Laikipia, wale wanaotegemea mifugo hasa ukulima wa ng'ombe kwa sababu ya maziwa, ilhali maziwa yao haiwezi ikapokelewa yote na KCC, Bwana Spika. Vile vile baada ya kupokelewa na KCC hata kulipwa inakuwa ni jambo gumu sana, inakuwa ni kizungumkuti, Bwana Spika. Na vile vile hata bei ambazo tayari serikali iliwaahidi, waliambiwa lita ya maziwa itakuwa ikinunuliwa zaidi ya shilingi 50. Lakini Bwana Spika, inakuwa kila wakati ni matatizo. Bwana Spika, tunaomba ya kwamba kamati ya ukulima ambayo itashughulikia jambo hili walivalie njuga na waite Waziri Kagwe aweze kueleza, kwa sababu alipochaguliwa kulisemekana ni mtu aliyebombea na ana ujuzi. Sasa tunataka kuona ujuzi wake akilipa wakulima wa maziwa na walipo wakati unaofaa, Bwana Spika. Nashukuru Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Asante. Senator Kisang William.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to make comment on the new KCC issue. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Kwanza government did a lot of campaigns across the country to encourage our farmers, especially dairy farmers, Honorable Speaker, and we were promised of 53 shillings.
Kajwan.
That the gadgets are working, because in your usual democratic fashion, you usually allocate one speaker from either side. I don't know what you had for lunch that has changed you today.
The ratio is 2-1, and also I can't see you on my screen. So the ratio is 2-1, almost going to 3-1. And also there is no standing order which is describing what the chair should do when you are here, when you are giving members to contribute. But maybe the technicians can check on your gadgets. Yes, Senator Karwale.
Mr. Speaker, did you hear the Senator of Homa Bay question what you had for lunch? Mr. Speaker, in view of the good English language, that statement in itself imputes improper motive, because in good English, it means either you took alcohol or opium or something. Is he in order, Mr. Speaker?
Bonnie, Senator Bonnie, you know where I come from. Men does not talk about the food. So I could not make a comment about the food. The men don't discuss matters, stomach matters. So you assume you never heard what he said. I just assumed I never heard. It's like when a boy insults you, you don't reverse back. You just don't answer him. You just proceed with your work. Yes. So I assumed I didn't hear what he talked about food. Senator Kisang, proceed.
Speaker, I agree with you. You know where Kalwale comes from. Food is very important. They talk about food all the time. Honorable Speaker, it is so sad that the new KCC and the SACCO in Meru decided to drastically reduce the amount of milk they are taking from the farmers, from 75,000 to 25,000. Honorable Speaker, you know milk is perishable. It is not, it's not dry food that you can store in your house for long and then submit later on, Honorable Speaker. We need to actually call the CS and the CEO for KCC to come to the house and answer, because our farmers are suffering and we are encouraging them, to have good dairy cows that produce up to 40 kilos a day. And then when they work hard, we stop picking the milk from them, Honorable Speaker. This is not right, and the CS should come to the house and explain what is happening. Because we have shortage of milk. Why are we importing milk from Uganda? Why are we importing maize when we have maize from the neighboring countries, Honorable Speaker? Honorable Speaker, that is something that we need to look at so that we don't discourage our farmers from investing in both dairy and crops, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the last one I wanted to make comment is the one by Senator for Migori, Honorable Speaker. You know, the Ministry of Mining cassetted 32 AMCs across the country. Elgeyo-Marakwet County is one of them. And they have taken so long, Honorable Speaker, to operationalize these particular committees that have been cassetted, the additional mining committees across the counties. Honorable Speaker, they need to operationalize, especially this coming financial year from
Senator Beatrice Akinyi, Ogola.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to support the statement by the Senator of Kajiado, Senator Seki, on the shortage of vaccines. Honorable Speaker, at independence, there were three major things that the founding fathers promised to sort. And one of them was disease, ignorance, and hunger, Honorable Speaker. But it is a pity that at this level, over 61 years...
Senator Joyce Coril.
Honorable Speaker, it is unfortunate that after over 60 years of independence, we still want to talk about tackling disease. Honorable Speaker, could it be that we are leaving our children to languish in death Honorable Speaker, coupled with this, I would like the committee to tackle the issue of immunization financing, which is going to be a problem in this country, especially as donors are going to pull out by 2029. Then if we have a problem by now, it means we are running into a worse problem, Honorable Speaker. Secondly, I want to support the statement by Senator Eddie Okech on the concerns regarding the state of small-scale mining in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, just a few weeks ago, we saw over 5 women died at some of those mining sites. We would like the ministry to also state what safety measures they are putting in place for the artisan miners and the small-scale miners all over in the mining areas. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to comment on the aerial survey of minerals that was done. Why do we find it easy to know where our natural resources, like wild animals, like forests are, and somebody does not want to make public the inventory on minerals, Honorable Speaker? Kenyans deserve to have this knowledge, and so, Honorable Speaker, I support those statements, and Honorable Speaker, there should be a lot of concern on those. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Okenyuri Esther.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to first begin by supporting the statement by Migori Senator Eddie on minerals. Mr. Speaker, the statement that has been brought by Senator Eddie is quite weighty, and I would wish the committee that is going to look at that statement to go deeper and even tell us what the body that has been conducting the geological survey looks at for them to term certain minerals strategic, because for a long time I have been thinking soapstone and whatever that surrounds it from Kisii is strategic enough to convince the Ministry of Government to support that as an economic activity, because it goes a long way in solving the economic needs of the locals and the country, Mr. Speaker. So I would really be worried that we are actually put aside by having certain minerals termed strategic. I would really want the committee to shed light so that I'm able to know if indeed we fall below that par, or it's a means of sidelining soapstone miners and covers, Mr. Speaker. And secondly, I also wish to support the statement by Senator Seki. Mr. Speaker, we have had rampant shortages in terms of vaccines, and I do not know why this is recurring. Is it poor forecasting that we are having, or there is general lapse in the ministry, Mr. Speaker? We do not want to lose our children. They are the future of this country. But it's sad that most of them are now missing out on these very crucial vaccines, which are very crucial at their developmental stages, Mr. Speaker. And we actually should not even be talking about this right now. The ministry needs to stop every other thing and address the matter on infant vaccines.
Senator Moses Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, in this country, it's very difficult to know what the truth is. And when I listened to the statement by the senator from Kirinyaga about coffee and about dairy, I was very conflicted. Mr. Speaker, on Madaraka Day, the president made an address telling us how structural changes and reforms in the coffee sector have led to the direct settlement scheme, which will allow coffee farmers to get settlements within just a few days rather than a number of months. And so, Mr. Speaker, I would like the Agriculture Committee to go deeper into this matter, not just to look at that specific aspect of direct settlement scheme, but to verify whether the reforms that the President has told us continuously in the agricultural sector are true reforms. Mr. Speaker, if we were to listen to only one side of the different arms of government, we will lose it. And that is why Parliament exists, to validate the claims from the executive. Mr. Speaker, let me also comment on the mineral, the declaration of strategic minerals. Mr. Speaker, this country, every corner of this country, has a strategic or has a critical mineral under the soil. And we had expected that the experts we had donated to the broad-based government, like CS Joho, would be able to tell Kenyans the truth for once. The colonialists, when they came to this country, they did a mineral mapping, and the records are there. County governments have a clear mineral mapping. Mr. Speaker, today we are talking of fiscal space. We are talking of lack of resources. We are going to borrow money from UAE. We are going into wars in Sudan so that we can...
Just a minute, Senator Kajwang. Senator Boni Karwale, what is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I rise under Standing Order number 105. Did you hear the Senator of Homa Bay said that they donated experts to the broad-based government, and he said, like Joho Hassan. Could he specify in what area of expertise the said Joho is an expert? Because it's a matter of record. It has to be clear. We have allowed, dear Senators, Kenyans, the issue of education be something that should never be celebrated by our children.
Senator
Can he
Boni
clarify?
Karwale. Senator Boni, if you familiarize yourself with the Standing Order 101, you know we are very strict on our standing orders. If you want to discuss CS Hali Hassan Joho, you should bring a substantive motion to this House. You yourself and Senator Kajwang, both of you are out of order, and I give you the first warning. If you dare mention any state officer by his name, familiarize yourself with the standing orders. Proceed and conclude.
Mr. Speaker, the senator from Kakamega is a renowned expert in bullfighting, and we don't challenge it, and he does not challenge it. So let us just give Joe his flowers, that he can be an expert in making sure that bling coming from our natural resources is well tapped. But, Mr. Speaker, I would love that from the blue economy and from our mineral resources, if you were to exploit this, we would not be beggars. And, Mr. Speaker, the biggest embarrassment for Africa and the southern part of the world was when African presidents go to the US and they are demeaned and embarrassed by the American president when they go begging for money, which we could get if we were to tap our critical mineral resources. So I hope that in that statement, the committee will go deep.
We are concluding on the comments the next 5 minutes. Senator Mgatana Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to quickly comment on the aerial geophysical survey of Kenya Mineral Resources statement by Senator Eddie Okech. Mr. Speaker, there was a conference that was held in Kenya on the 26th, 27th of November 2024 after the aerial geosurvey, physical geosurvey was done, and which identified 970 mineral occurrences in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, what is surprising is that that conference was supposed to attract investment into Kenya after we discovered there are about 970 mineral occurrences in Kenya. What is surprising and what is coming from this statement is that this information has not been put up in the public domain. And the purpose for which money was spent was so that we can attract investment into this country. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Mining released a document saying they spent $65 million. This is about 7 billion Kenya shillings to carry out that aerial geophysical survey between the years 1919 and 2022, 2019 and 2022. So if public money was expended to the effect that we bring investment, why is the ministry having a problem with publishing this information? why should the minister arrange conferences in 2024 when maybe there are Kenyans who want to invest in that sector? Mr. Speaker, the committee should explore the reasons, because maybe there are very many Kenyans who...
Sorry. Last but not the least, Senator Ososi Ngonfle, Atieno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will want to quickly comment on the statement by Senator of Migori. Has actually four statements on the matter of mineral mining. Mr. Speaker, I think Senator Eddy's statements are quite heavy and very important, because they are actually addressing very, very fundamental questions in the mining sector in this country. Mr. Speaker, the status of artisanal mining in our counties is something that this House must look at. We have unscrupulous foreigners who have invaded our villages, especially in Western Kenya. The Chinese, the Indians, and all manner, Nigerians, all manner of foreigners, in the name of mining gold. And children have left school because they are busy searching through soil and trying to look for gold, Mr. Speaker. Women have left their homes. And what happens to this gold when they mine it? No one knows where it goes. Mr. Speaker, we have sat in this House and we have been told Vihiga, Migori, and Kakamega cannot get mineral royalties because the gold that is mined is not accounted for, Mr. Speaker. So I think the Committee for Environment, Lands, and Natural Resources have an obligation to bring answers to this House as to what exactly happens. And all these companies operating are known to the Ministry of Mining, are known to the police, are known to the county government. What is happening, Mr. Speaker, is illegal trade that is known to government officials, and they are not.
That's the end of the statement. Our next order.
Order number 8, motion, celebrating the life of Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Resumption of debate interrupted on Wednesday, 4th June 2025. Afternoon sitting. Question to be put.
Honorable Senators, the debate on this motion was concluded yesterday. And now what is remaining is putting of the question. And this motion does not involve counties and standing on item 4.1. But I want to ascertain whether we have quorum to put the voice vote. Clerk? Okay. What? Maybe can I first put the question? There is another thing from where I come from. Men do not look behind. So once you start standing up, you continue standing. So, Honorable Senators, I put the question that aware that Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, a prominent author, academician, and human rights defender, globally recognized for his foundational contributions to literature and good governance, passed away on 20th May 2025 at the age of 87 years. Cognizant that the late Professor wa Thiong'o had an illustrious career in writing and teaching literature, spanning over 6 decades, where he authored landmark novels, plays, and poems that shaped post-colonial studies, contributed to social justice, and inspired generations of writers and thinkers across the world. Under Senators, Senator Ososi, appreciating that the late Professor wa Thiong'o advocated for indigenous languages and indeed took up writing in his mother tongue at a time when it was not fashionable to do so. Further, cognizant that his legacy inspiring many generations towards cultural sovereignty and the power of indigenous languages in literature and thought led to numerous international awards being bestowed upon him. Now, therefore, the Senate expresses its deep sadness at the death of Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, reckons his celebration and appreciation of his remarkable life, and extends his heartfelt sympathy and condolences to his family, friends, and the nation. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Senators, when the chair is upstanding, Deputy Majority Leader, when you are out there, familiarize yourself with the standing orders. When the chair is upstanding, no senator should utter even as a word. You must be attentive because the communication is sent to the honorable senators. But then when you start talking, Senator Kenywa, are you the one who is misreading? You know you are senior than Senator Keroche. Next one. Next one.
Order number 9, motion. Report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the fourth basis for allocating the share of national revenue among counties. Resumption of debate interrupted on Tuesday, 3rd June 2025.
No senator was on the floor, so I'll give Senator Wambua Enoch. Did you contribute? If you didn't, then you should. This motion has not been amended. It's the original motion. Senator Mogeni Eric.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move a motion, an amendment to the motion in the following manner, Mr. Speaker, that the motion be amended by deleting the words county allocation equal to baseline allocation ratio of 387,425 billion plus Kenya shillings 2 billion shared equally among the identified 11 counties plus 45% population index plus bracket 35% equal share index plus 0.12% poverty index plus 0.08 geographical size index and additional county equitable share above 389,425 appearing after the word as follows and substituting thereof with the following words. County allocation equal to baseline allocation ratio at Kenya shillings 387,425 billion plus 4.46 billion shared equally among the identified 11 counties plus 0.45 population index plus 35% equal share index plus 12% poverty index plus 8% geographical size index and then additional county equitable share above 391.89 billion. Mr. Speaker, I want to go on record that I'm rising to support the report of the Committee on Finance as amended by the proposed motion that is on the floor. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by thanking the chair of this committee, Chairman Senator Ali Roba, for coming up with a formula that does not elicit any controversy from the 47 Senate delegations. Mr. Speaker, many of us who are here as senators in the 12th Parliament know that this issue of revenue share formula was extremely contentious. We had a prolonged stalemate on the floor of the House. We voted more than 13 times before we reached a compromise. So we must thank the committee that this time around we are going through a process that is less controversial, that is trying to carry everybody on board. Mr. Speaker, sir, the motion that I've moved this afternoon to amend the motion seeks to carry along the 11 counties that are disadvantaged, that get an allocation that does not allow them to perform their functions optimally. And Mr. Speaker, we all know that under our Constitution, more so Article 29, the spirit of affirmative action is well enshrined in that article. And further, Mr. Speaker, when we allocate resources, it's important, Mr. Speaker, that we be sure that the resources we allocate to our counties will support our devolved units to perform their functions. So, Mr. Speaker, the spirit behind these amendments is to ensure that our big, rich counties carry along the smaller, poor counties so that we all move together. And, Mr. Speaker, as I move this motion, Mr. Speaker, I'm moving this motion with the hope that we are not going to agree with the resolution of the National Assembly that is setting the equitable share at 405 billion. Mr. Speaker, I believe that our revenue collection has gone up, Mr. Speaker, and we want our brothers and sisters in the National Assembly to support us, Mr. Speaker, so that we are able to support our devolved units. Two, and I'm saying this very candidly, Mr. Speaker, because we always know when there is interference. I want to thank the President, our current President, Dr. William Ruto, for having given this House the independence to deal with this matter without any intimidation from the executive. Because, Mr. Speaker, the problem we had last time is that the executive tried to micromanage us senators, Mr. Speaker. So I appeal to the executive to keep that spirit so that we as senators can deal with this matter as senators who carry along the interest of all the 47 devolved units. But having said that, we also know, Mr. Speaker, that when we had a stalemate last time, it took an act of statesmanship from two great individuals, President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Senator Wambua will bear me witness that the compromise that we reached on the floor, Mr. Speaker, included a commitment from the executive that they were going to give us an additional allocation of 53.5 billion shillings. We got that increase on one financial year. Pop, 53.5 billion. So, Mr. Speaker, this debate we are having from National Assembly saying that we cannot increase revenue, the equitable share from 387 to 465. Is what our Chief Justice will call hot hair, because it has been done before and it can be done, Mr. Speaker. So I hope that our brothers and sisters who will represent us in mediation will push to ensure that we get an allocation of 465 billion. So, Speaker, when you break down the amount that we have proposed to increase, it's merely by deleting the figure 2 billion that had graciously been allocated to these counties by the Committee of Finance and substitute 2 billion with 4.6 billion. So we are just increasing it by 2.6 billion. And after this amendment, if honorable senators support, if this amendment carries the day, the position remains as it is currently. There is no county that is going to be disadvantaged in any way. But we would have supported the 11 counties, each to get a small increase of 400 million. And I want to agree with the submissions that were made by Senator of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, that this increase, Mr. Speaker, should be sector-specific allocation. We don't want to give this money to our counties, Mr. Speaker, and then we find that the absorption is to employ relatives or friends of our governors, Mr. Speaker. If we give this money to these 11 counties, it should be for sector-specific allocations, Mr. Speaker, so that the money is used to spur development, Mr. Speaker. If Governor Oparanya is doing a tarmac road from Kakamega to Vihiga, if we give this money to the governor for Vihiga, Honorable Otichlo, he should also do a tarmac, because that is the intention of this. This is an affirmative action initiative, Mr. Speaker, so that the big counties don't move alone, Mr. Speaker. If we want to connect these counties to do business, if Kakamega is doing a tarmac, let Vihiga do it, and let Nyamira do the same, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy to report, Mr. Speaker, for comfort of this House, that the wars we have been seeing in Nyamira, because people may ask, if this money goes to Nyamira, which county assembly will appropriate the money? Is it the one called Mashinani, or it's the one that sits in the county headquarters? The Speaker, if you follow news, you must have read in the Standard newspaper of today that yesterday, Mr. Speaker, the High Court sitting in Bomet made a landmark decision, and it nullified everything doing with Bunge Mashinani in Nyamira. So I want to give my senators who will support this quest that the money that you will send to Nyamira will be appropriated by one county assembly sitting at the gazetted county assembly premises in Nyamira, and not the one you have been seeing sitting in people's residences. I want to give that undertaking, Mr. Speaker, and I hope my governor is watching these proceedings. We don't want that shame, that embarrassment. You know, yesterday when I had that rumor that a judgment had come out clarifying where the assembly should be sitting, I requested this motion to be stepped down so that I deliver the good news to our honorable senators, Mr. Speaker, because we want, Mr. Speaker, this money to be used for the benefit, I emphasize, for the benefit of the people who reside in those 11 counties. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we were proposing that if we are able to get this money for these 11 counties, we should have something we call action taken report. We must tie them to report back to us how they have used this money, Mr. Speaker. Because the fear amongst us is to give money to our counties, and then the money goes to the pockets of a few people, and not for the benefit of people who reside in those counties. As I head towards concluding, Mr. Speaker, I want to also tell the senators that the people who enacted the 2011 Constitution had a lot of faith and trust in us elected parliamentarians. You know, Mr. Speaker, in India, when revenue is being shared between states and the union, the recommendation of the Finance Commission of India is final, Mr. Speaker. But luckily for us, Mr. Speaker, when Kenyans enacted our 2011 constitution, the last task of sharing revenue was placed in the hands of us, the elected leaders, Mr. Speaker. Even if you go to Australia, I think they call it the Commonwealth Grants Commission of Australia. Once they make recommendation on how money is to be shared between the union and the states, Parliament has got no say. But in this country, Mr. Speaker, under Article 215 and Article 215, CRA merely makes a recommendation. The people who have the last say, Mr. Speaker, is us, senators. So I want to appeal to our colleagues, all the 47 senators, to stand with your brothers and sisters from these 11 counties, Mr. Speaker. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, while my brother, Chair of Finance, Senator for Mandera, gets a cool 12 billion, our brother from Lamu gets 3.2 billion, Mr. Speaker. When you share with the Senator for Lamu, he tells you that money is barely pays salaries, fuels vehicles, if they are lucky to buy some medicine here and there, and it gets depleted. The same with Isiolo, Mr. Speaker. So if Mr. Speaker, this motion gets the support of senators, we'll be able to uplift some counties to a level that they can also try to bring developments to their regions. And I want to remind our brothers, Mr. Speaker, from arid, semi-arid, and sparsely populated counties, that the formula that we had here in 2019, Senator Wambua, you can bear me witness, was exposing some of these counties to the risk of losing to the tune of 2 billion, up to 2 billion. But, Mr. Speaker, because we recognized deliberately that we were elected not just to fight for Nyamira, but to fight for all the 47 counties, we stood with our brothers, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that nobody was disadvantaged with that third revenue sharing formula. So I'm also urging our colleagues here to stand with the 11 counties so that all of us 47 counties move together, the same spirit as senators who are here to defend devolution and to defend the functions that have been devolved to our devolved units, Mr. Speaker. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we also want to urge all the bodies that are tasked with ensuring that corruption does not get deeper roots in this country, to create confidence within our counties, Mr. Speaker. Those who misappropriate public money, Mr. Speaker, action should be taken, Mr. Speaker. We should see more people behind bars so that there is deterrence, Mr. Speaker. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I kindly ask the Senator for Elgeyo Marakwet to second motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kisan William.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I arise to second the motion as amended, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we want to thank the Finance and Budget Committee for its wisdom. I remember the third basis, I was in the National Assembly with you, Honorable Speaker, and it was not easy for senators then to pass that particular formula because it was very divisive and basically it divided the country almost into two, Honorable Speaker. And in its own wisdom, as a retired governor, Senator Ali Roba came with a lot of wisdom to the Committee of Finance and Budget and sat, convinced his members, and also listened to the governors from the 11 marginalized counties and listened to us as senators. And this particular proposal to give 4.6 billion to the 11 counties is a good compromise, basically to assist the 11 counties to get some resources to do some development, Honorable Speaker. In fact, Honorable Speaker, we are saying, as Senator Mgena has said, we need also to ensure when the House approves, we need to ring fence to ensure that the governors don't continue employing their relatives, continue spending these as recurrent, Honorable Speaker, so that at least the 11 counties will have a minimum of the 405 million, Honorable Speaker, that has been proposed to do something meaningful, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in Elgeyo-Marakwet County, we have about 20 wards. And I was saying, if each financial year we take, say, 10 of our 20 wards, they are allocated 40 million, Honorable Speaker, they can do something good, reasonable in each of the wards. Because what touches the mwananchi on the ground, Honorable Speaker, is especially health. And if you go across the country, sometimes 2-3 weeks ago, Honorable Speaker, we went to Kilifi, we went to Mombasa and Kwale, and it is pathetic. In fact, the only count out of the 3 that we visited, Honorable Speaker, was Kilifi. Kilifi is the only one that had a good system working. They have a very good pharmacy system working, and they have, the people are doing well. But the other 2 was, I don't know what to say, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, we are asking our colleagues, begging our colleagues to help us. This is the time to stand with your brothers and sisters in these particular 11 counties, Honorable Speaker, so that devolution makes sense for these 11 counties, Honorable Speaker. I said sometimes early this week, Honorable Speaker, that these particular 11 counties, there is nothing that they've been doing much that you can see. You can go and visit these particular counties. You'll not see anything. In fact, I was telling Senator Wambua, when you go to Machakos, you'll see a big building. You'll see tarmac. Kakamega, the CS of Baranya, when he was the governor for Kakamega, he did about 20 or 30 kilometers of tarmac. Even Viga, even Maraming is a problem because those resources are not there. That is why, Honorable Speaker, we will still insist, even as this House, the 10 billion for RLMF also should go to the counties and be ring-fenced, Honorable Speaker, so that as we give this additional 405 million to the 11 counties, the 10 million of RLMF also should go to the counties so that they can do roads, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are just asking, please support us, support our counties, so that we can actually even actualize, because if you look at Article 203, Honorable Speaker, Section 1, but G, Honorable Speaker, there is economic disparities within and among counties and the need to remedy them. This affirmative action of 405 million to the 11 counties, Honorable Speaker, will basically sort out this section 203, Article 203, Section 1, but G, Honorable Speaker, so that at least we remedy the economic activities of these particular 11 counties, Honorable Speaker. And as a Senate, we also will not agree with the position that the National Assembly has taken, that our counties get 405 billion. So I remember sometimes last year when we were discussing these issues, we had given a proposal of 415 billion to the counties, and then it was reduced to 380, and eventually there was a compromise of 387 billion, Honorable Speaker. And now they want to move it marginally by about 17 billion to 405. Let us be firm, Honorable Senators, and stand with the 465 billion so that our counties, all the counties will move to 6 billion. And then eventually, Honorable Speaker, we also want to urge our colleagues in National Assembly. This particular revenue that will be shared between, from 2025, 2026, Honorable Speaker, is based on audited report of Auditor General for 2020, 2021. Why can National Assembly a Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Speaker, fast track looking at these reports so that we should be only a year behind. And if we are a year behind, we will not be crying about additional resources because we'll be pacing the revenue on the most recent, Honorable Speaker, because if you check the national government budget that will be read next week is 4-point-something trillion. And counties are getting 4 billion. If you calculate, it's less than 10%. And we are supposed to be getting basically minimum of 15%. So, Honorable Speaker, I beg to second and ask our colleagues, please sympathize with us, empathize with us, so that we may at least slowly develop our small and marginalized counties. I second, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the motion be amended by A, deleting the ones county allocation, which is the baseline allocation ratio of Kenya shillings 387 billion 425 plus Kenya shillings 2 billion, shared equal among the identified 11 counties, plus 45% on population index, plus 35% on equal share index, plus 0.12% on poverty index, plus 8% on geographical size index. Additional county equitable share above Kenya shillings 389.425 billion, appearing after the ones as follows, and substituting therefore with the following ones. And B, counter allocation equals baseline allocation ratio of Kenya shillings 387.425 billion plus Kenya shillings 4.46 billion shared equally among the identified 11 counties, plus 45% on population index, plus that 5% equal share index, plus 12% poverty index, plus 8% geographical size index. Additional county equitable share above Kenya shillings 391.89 billion. Therefore, I want now to invite senators to contribute to this particular motion, not to the original motion, to this amendment. You will be contributing to the amendment moved by Senator Kongo. If you don't know, you did not get the import of the amendment, then I think we can benefit from the wisdom of the chair of the committee, who will be able to explain what had happened before and why now the amendment has come, and the consequences, Mr. Chair, to the amendment. So I'll invite the chair, Senator Bahari Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The wisdom behind having a less controversial formula of sharing revenue amongst counties this time is informed by what preceded in the third Senate, where there was a lot of controversy on the third basis of revenue sharing, which was as a result of a substantive number of counties losing. And there was no amount of force from the state that was able to sway the position the senators took to be able to carry the entire country along. Mr. Speaker, as I rise to support the concept of carrying everybody along, and particularly these 9 counties that are receiving less money, these 11 counties that are receiving less money, in the wisdom of the committee initially, we proposed 2 billion shilling to be shared equally among the 11 counties, with the, inside of the fact that division of revenue as passed in the current financial year, the original division of revenue stood at 400 billion.01. And the division of revenue bill as passed by the National Assembly now
it stands at 405. The division of revenue as passed by the Senate is 465, and we're heading for mediation. And it's important to reflect on the result of past mediation in terms of how much more money we were able to get. Honorable Speaker, one mediation chaired by yourself was only able to get very little amount in terms of increase in shareable revenue for counties. And the last one that we mediated, we were able to only negotiate from 385 to 387.425, which was only 2 billion, literally, in terms of an increase from the mediation. The only word of caution I want to throw in, so that we debate in the context of other realities that are beyond our control, such as the result that may come out of the mediation that has no guarantee. While we will push as hard as possible as senators to be able to get more money for shareable revenue to county governments, informed by the fact that the last meaningful increase on shareable revenue from the government was in 2020, 2021. And now the cumulative increase since then is about 70 billion. We feel that maybe considering there is a new formula, it's the high time for us to push to get a little bit more. But then those are expectations. The reality now is that the current shareable revenue is at 387.425. What was originally proposed in the DORA that was amended because of the circumstances surrounding the finance bill brought it down, from 400.01 to 387. And now National Assembly has proposed 405. In real sense, the increase on shareable revenue is just from 400 billion to 405. Now, what is proposed in this amendment is to get 4.6 billion to 11 counties, meaning if we hit the reality of hitting dead end on the negotiation or mediation between us, and that reality based on other past events takes us to the position of 405, then it means the entire shareable revenue that will have increased from 400 to 405 would have been shared between the 11 counties, and the other 36 may not have any much gain from the current shareable revenue increase. As I would like to caution my colleagues, the honorable senators, to be cognizant of this reality. The most ideal position was to share what is feasible now and be able to look at amending, what we needed to do at a time we would have realized a lot later. Mr. Speaker, these 11 counties have a challenge, and the proposal to carry them along is very noble. They need to be considered. On that principle, I believe with conviction the entire Senate is 100% on board. The degree of consideration, though, must be informed by the realities of what we can achieve from shareable revenue after mediation. And therefore, I just want to put that caution as the chair of Finance and Budget, so that as we carry everybody along, we also don't put the other 36 counties into grave disadvantage. Mr. Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
Before I give the second contributor, I have this communication on a visiting delegation from Meru County. Honorable Senators, in the Speaker's Gallery, we have Mr. Anderson Mweti Kadendo and Mrs. Ruth Gasheri Mweti. They are business persons from Meru County and are here on a one-day tour at the invitation of yours truly. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Since yours truly is on the chair, I'll ask my neighbor from the other side, Senator Kenywa, to welcome the visitors from Laikipia County.
Asante Bwana Spika, nataka kuungana na wewe kuwakaribisha wafanyabiashara waliobombea kutoka Meru na kuambia karibuni, na hivi ndivyo ambavyo spika wetu Kadhuri Murungi anavyofanya kazi, na ni mtu ambaye anafanya kazi kwa ustadi na kuendesha bunge hili kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Kwa hivyo nawaambieni karibuni, mjisikie huru, mnaweza mkatembea na kusoma mengi ambayo yanatendeka, na niwahakikishia kwamba mlimchagua mtu ambaye ni stadi, na alipofika hapa sisi tukamchagua awe kiongozi wetu wa bunge na afanya kazi vilivyo. Asante Spika kunipa fursa hiyo.
Asante kwa maneno mazuri. Senator Wambua Enoch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would have expected that you will ask me to welcome the delegation from Meru. I am more of a neighbor to Meru than Laikipia, but Mr. Speaker, that is now water under the bridge. Would deal with it. Mr. Speaker,
next time I will give you that privilege.
I thank you for the assurance. Mr. Speaker, I stand here to make comments on the proposed amendment to the motion by the Committee on Budget. And Mr. Speaker, just a little history will help us make the right decision on this matter. In the basis that we are concluding, the Speaker, the formula, the bone of contention then was that the Senate was faced with the challenge of an existential threat to a county. And that county is actually the county of Mandera, where now the chairman of the budget comes from. If we had gone with the wisdom of the CRA then and passed the formula as proposed by them, probably Mandera County would have shut its doors by now. And because, the Speaker, we are here as defenders and protectors of devolution, we said that Mandera County was not going to be shut under our watch. So we fought. And the solution, Mr. Speaker, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the majority leader, because that time, Mr. Speaker, his county and the county of Elgeyo Marakwet, then represented by Kipchumba Murkomen, they were gaining quite substantially. But for the sake of the counties that were losing, they said, we are going to make this sacrifice for the sake of the counties that are losing money. Mr. Speaker, that's a context within which we are discussing this proposal. Senator Nyamira has done a good job to move the amendment. Mr. Speaker, the only challenge that I have with the request put forward to us by the 11 small counties is that whereas the concept of affirmative action is contemplated under the Constitution in formulating a formula for sharing revenue under 203, where we can apply affirmative action to take care of counties that are disadvantaged. The Speaker, I want to be convinced, and I want the 11 counties to convince us, because that's what we are doing here, that this additional money that they're asking for is money that will go to good use. The Speaker, I say that because the Senator of Nyamira, while moving the motion, the amendment, has just mentioned to us that a ruling has been made in Nyamira that the so-called mashinani sittings have now been abolished by the courts. Mr. Speaker, we expect that the Senator of Nyamira will report to us next week that the County Assembly of Nyamira will now be sitting in the gazetted premises of the Assembly, and that they will be appropriating money for the county government under the law and the Constitution. When I listened to Senator from Elgeyo Marakwet, I'm not very convinced about what he's asking for, Mr. Speaker. I'll be very honest. Because the Senator is telling us we should have mercy on them, have mercy on us. Mr. Speaker, this must go beyond us just having mercy on counties. We must be convinced that this money that you're asking for is money that will be allocated to do certain things that are beneficial to the people in those counties. Why do I say that, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker? I say that, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, because the request put forward to us in this amendment is to allocate 4.6 billion Kenya shillings to 11 counties that, in the opinion of the senators from those counties, are disadvantaged. Now, we have just listened to the submission from the Budget Committee. That, Madam Speaker, going by reality, the growth in revenue to counties is realistically just maybe 5 billion, considering what we passed in the last financial year. So out of this 5 billion, what Senator Nyamira and his colleagues are asking us to do is, out of the 5 billion, then 4.6 goes to be shared among the 11 counties. And then the rest of us, we share 500 million. Now, Speaker, now there's a window. There's a window for us to exploit, and we'll try to exploit it. That this House must stand very, very firm that the shareable revenue for all counties cannot be 405 billion Kenya shillings. We must push for 465 billion Kenya shillings to go to counties. That means, Mr. Speaker, we shall be sharing substantive amount of money. But if now we stick to 405, Mr. Speaker, I think then the 11 counties may have to be called upon to also step down a bit from the 4.6 to maybe 3 billion. We are yet to be convinced. We are not going to take a position now. We are yet to be convinced. Madam Speaker, the other reason why I want to be convinced by this committee is that, realistically speaking, the 11 counties are asking to have a triple share of the equitable share to counties. And this is how. This is how, Senator Kenya. If you pay attention, you'll know how. Under the third basis, under 387 billion allocated to counties, that formula puts into consideration equal share as a parameter. So all of us under 387 are getting equal share from 387. All of us, all the 47 counties. Under the proposal brought to us by the committee, the 35% parameter, equal share, applies equally to all the 47. That's the second bite. So you're getting the first bite at 387. You are getting the second bite at the proposal is brought to us by the committee. And then you are also proposing an affirmative action of 4.6 billion, where that is not exclusive to the 11 counties. So basically you are saying the 11 counties should get equal share allocation 3 times in one formula. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying we need to be convinced that this is the direction that we want to take. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, the wisdom, I guess, of the committee is that whatever we do, no county should lose any money. At least let's begin from there, that whatever it is that we do, there is no county that should lose any money. And the committee had proposed 2 billion Kenya shillings as affirmative action for 11 counties. If we push, and I'm told, Madam Speaker, I have not confirmed, but I am told that my name was seen somewhere, as a member of the mediation committee. If those of us who will sit in the mediation committee are able to push for at least 450 billion to counties, then 4.6 billion is money that can really go on to counties as affirmative action for the 11 counties. Madam Speaker, I want to conclude by saying this. The solution to the impasse that we had in the previous debate on the third basis was not a discussion and a debate on this floor about what formula we are going to use, but it was the amount of money that we are going to be sharing. And I want to urge my colleagues that yes, even as we discuss the formula and the parameters and the affirmative action, our eyes should be trained on the amount of money that we are sharing, all of us, the 47 counties. Madam Speaker, it must be unacceptable to all of us that the National Assembly, in their wisdom, think that, or lack of it, as Senator Mungatana say, think that out of a 4 trillion budget, the best that you can do for counties is slightly above 400 billion. Madam Speaker, we must reject that move by the National Assembly and reject it loudly, not quietly, in every space available to us. We must reject that move by the National Assembly. I don't know what it is that the National Assembly asks against devolution. I don't know what it is, Madam Speaker. You know, these leaders behave as though they are residents in counties who belong to governors and senators, and then other residents in the same county who belong to members of the National Assembly. It's a very funny thinking, Madam Speaker, that we are fighting for the same people. We are fighting to devolve resources to the same people. And I said here the other day, Madam Speaker, and I want to repeat, that the constitutional provision that at least 15% of the money should go to counties, 15% is the lower limit. In fact, there is no lower limit for the money that should be going to the national government. So we could as well even take 85% of money to counties and 15% to the national government. That's what it is. We should not look at 15% as no, that is the upper limit. You know, once they get 15%, we are being told whatever you do, don't give less than 15% of monies to county governments. Madam Speaker, with those remarks, I will sit and wait to be persuaded by the 11 counties, but I stand on the principle that every county in this country must benefit equitably from the formula that we are going to agree on. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Majority Leader.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, can I use? Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this chance to share my thoughts also on this amended version of the motion before us, because I do appreciate, Madam Speaker, that we had a motion that was moving on very well. Then 11 of our colleagues caucused without the rest of us, and now wants to convince us to side with them. Madam Speaker, there's nothing wrong with caucusing, because this is a house of reason, and you convince each other by logic and good sense. And so from the very onset, Madam Speaker, without committing fully, but like a young man, still willing to listen to as many damsels as possible, I want to say that I am willing to be persuaded. I don't know why Senator Kajwang and Senator Kinyua and Wambua are laughing. I know they have misinterpreted my pronouncements, Madam Speaker, to mean other things or to interpret their own stuff. But I must appreciate that, like somebody observed, I think to Senator Kajwang yesterday, that this is one of our most solemn moments as a Senate. It is one of those moments which any senator, by the way, who never gets to record their voice on this matter is not worth even being elected to this House. Madam Speaker, I have my notes from the second generation formula, still very new in this House. I have my notes of what I said in the third formula, and today I can speak off the top of my head on the fourth generation formula, because there is no other powers. You know, this Constitution is very mean to the Senate. I have said this before. But at least with regards to the determination of how shareable revenue to counties is shared out amongst the 47, we were granted the superpower. Not even the National Assembly has the kind of power that Senate has. In fact, such is the provision, Madam Speaker, that this is the only occasion where they will require actually two-thirds to overturn any decision of this House. And you know how many times, Madam Speaker, that House has raised that threshold. In fact, I cannot recall any other time, save for the time that we needed to chase a very bad man in this country, Madam Speaker, and they successfully did it. On any other occasion, even on moments where they could actually have self-benefited, they couldn't raise those numbers. I recall the amendment, for example, by the former member of Parliament.
What's your point of order, Senator Kyo?
Madam Speaker, I have heard Senator for Kericho, the majority leader, saying that the only time that the National Assembly raised a quorum of two-thirds is when they needed to chase a very bad man. I don't know, chase him out of where to where and who this bad man is. Madam Speaker, can you clarify that?
Senator Majority Leader, can you substantiate
Madam
your
Speaker,
allegations?
I've just come back from Kitui County, his home county, this morning. I was in Kitui East.
Order, Senator Kyo. Now, can you listen to the substantiation?
A place called, I think, Nzesu or something like that. Zombe, thank you for reminding me. And when I asked the people whether we made the right decision, they unilaterally told me that it was the right decision to kick out Rigathi Gachagua out of the position of Deputy President because his conduct was unbecoming. That was in Kitui, where Senator Wambua comes from, not any other part of the country. So if Senator Wambua needed to know who that bad man was, I have told him. So back...
Proceed, Senator ML.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know what Senator Wambua wants to say. If he wants to do a public participation on whether that decision was right, he should go back to the same people that I asked this morning.
Senator Kinyua, what is your point of order?
Speaker, ni kinaya kwa kiongozi wa wengi kusema ya kwamba bunge la kitaifa kuhusu mjadala anayoleta hapa, bunge la kitaifa halisikizi, hawasikizi chochote, na ni watu ambao si wazuri wasikizi seneti hii. Alafu hatimaye anatuambia wao ndio walifukuza mtu mbaya. Kwa hivyo, Bwana Speaker, nasema ni kinaya.
Senator Kenywa, is it a point of order or are you just making a statement? What is your issue?
Kweli kabisa bwana Speaker. Hakuna hoja ya nidhamu kwa yale maneno ambayo amesema Speaker. Nafikiri amechangia tu mjadala.
Senator ML, proceed with the debate, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for protecting me from the frivolous points of orders. From my colleagues who don't want me to engage in this debate, Madam Speaker. But I'll tread with caution now so that I don't get interrupted while executing a very important mandate. I appreciate that Senator Okongo Omogeni, Senator Kisang have taken to the floor this early to convince the House, and I've listened to them. I listened to Senator Omogeni, and even when I was having tea while Senator Kisang was speaking, the reason I had tea, Senator Wambua, is that I was not served any ndengu in Kitui. Therefore, I arrived in the House very hungry. But I still listened. I still listened to Senator Omogeni moving the amendment. But Speaker,
point of is it a point of clarification? Senator ML, do you want to be informed?
Why is Senator Wambua restless? Could it be because the people of Kitui welcomed me so well this morning?
Senator ML, do you want to sit down? Okay, Senator Wambua, quickly.
You know, Madam Speaker, I would have wanted to let the majority leader to just get away with this. But for a second time, he has said he was in Kitui. Madam Speaker, the tradition in this House, and he is the originator of that tradition, we don't go to senators' counties without, one, informing them, and secondly, them accompanying us. Madam Speaker, is he breaking a tradition that he himself has set? If he had gone with me, definitely, he would have been served some dengue. But he went now, I don't know who he went with, what he was even doing in Kitui without my presence, Madam Speaker. Can you tell us why he sneaked into Kitui, Madam Speaker?
Senator Wambua, the Speaker is constrained to rule on customs that are not in the standing order. But ML has heard, and I hope behind the tent, ML will do what is necessary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for protecting me once again this afternoon, Madam Speaker. But I had a very good time in Kitui. That's all I wish to say at this point. Therefore, Madam Speaker, this amendment, the amendment that is being canvassed by our colleagues, I'll speak to it at the end of my conversation, but I first want to focus on the importance of this exercise that we are doing. It should never be lost on us, Madam Speaker, that it is without debate in our country that devolution is the greatest gift the people of Kenya ever bequeathed themselves after independence. And in the same constitution, the 2010 constitution, Madam Speaker, Senate was granted the powers to protect and ensure that we defend counties and their interests. That's a correct wording as per the constitution. So every business that we transact in this House, Madam Speaker, should always be anchored on that founding philosophy of the House of the Senators per Article 96, to appreciate and to know, Madam Speaker, that everything that we do fosters devolution and ensures that it succeeds. Madam Speaker, it is not possible. A second thing that I'd wish senators to note, and perhaps to the pleasing of Senator Osotsi, Kisang, Omogeni, my colleagues, it is not possible for devolution as a whole to succeed in certain corners of a country while failing in others. And this has nothing to do with the people that you vote as a county governor. It's about how strong we entrench devolution. It's about the amount of resources that we send to our counties, Madam Speaker. And it is foolhardy to imagine that it is possible for one county to thrive while the rest is actually faltering. Many of the services that are provided by our counties, for example, Madam Speaker, are actually so basic that on many occasions they are shared across county. Think about health, for example. Many times, Senator Omogeni knows this. When I go to Kapkatet Hospital in Bureti sub-county in my county, nearly half the people that I meet are actually from Nyamira County. Or if not 40%, then there's another 30 from Bomet County and another 30 from Kericho County, Madam Speaker. Therefore, it is not possible to believe that when you disadvantage other counties, that your own county will thrive, Madam Speaker. We should always try to seek and ensure that we make all our 47 devolved units successful, Madam Speaker, so that it becomes even a case study for the other to challenge one another and to know what exactly is happening and what is it that one county is doing better than the other. I have my own mini devolution conference in my county tomorrow, for example, Madam Speaker, where we are taking stock of 12 years of devolution and seeing what it is that has worked and where we have gotten it wrong, Madam Speaker, as a county, with a view to making things better in the next 12. That is part of our responsibility and duty that we do as counties or leaders from those counties, Madam Speaker, to ensure that we succeed in granting hope to the citizens, ensuring that given an opportunity, another chance, that they will still make the decision that they made on the, in August of 2010 to ensure that we decentralize power in this country. That should always be at the top of our mind, colleagues, that we ask ourselves, should Kenyans be granted an opportunity to vote for the 2010 Constitution as is? What is it that will make it back to the Constitution? And what is it that they will definitely say, remove this one? This was a wrong decision. Should they be presented with a buffet of articles and, parts of the Constitution and the new things that came with devolution? Therefore, Madam Speaker, we keep up with the tradition of setting a baseline. And this, Senator Omogeni and colleagues that were here last term will recall that this is a tradition that we brought to the third formula. It was not there in the first, it was not there in the second. At the first and the second formula, we had absolutely no baseline. We only divided the resources from zero, moving all the way to the funds that were being devolved. And we ensured, Madam Speaker, that the division and the weights were applied equally on the full amount of resource that is being devolved. However, at the third generation formula, this thinking of having a baseline arose. And it was quite ingenious of us, because you recall that there are instances where we have actually either stagnated or moved back in terms of the resources that we are devolving to our counties. And it is this proposal, ensuring that you have it in the formula, that at the very minimum, should anything happen, it is not possible to devolve less than 387 billion to the counties, plus all these other billions that are over and above it. I am a firm supporter of the baseline allocation ratio, Madam Speaker, because it ensures that what counties had already secured and the basis upon which they had done their budgets for the previous fiscal year. Like now, we are doing this, and this is the month of June. Counties are also working on their budgets. CECs are just about to read the budgets before the county assemblies. County assemblies are actually finalizing on all the proposals and the plans. And the question at the back of their mind is, what is likely to come out of this discussion and mediation exercise between the Senate and the National Assembly, Madam Speaker? To guide them, at least, at the very least, they are certain that given the formula that the Senate is discussing and the use of this baseline ratio, Madam Speaker, they know an amount, there's a particular amount below which they cannot get. And therefore, I am a firm believer in ensuring that that which we had already agreed upon, we should not move below it. And even those of us, or those that will be in this house, Madam Speaker, when Senate considers the 5th and the 6th and the 7th generation formula, I hope they keep with this tradition, Madam Speaker. When they read the notes and the Hansard of the thoughts that went into the deliberation of the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 4th formula, Madam Speaker, they'll appreciate the wisdom of colleagues that came ahead of them and ensure that we always lock that which had already been agreed. Therefore, on the committee's decision to keep up with the tradition that was set in this house in the 3rd generation formula of ensuring that we have the 3rd the baseline allocation ratio as part and parcel of our formula, Madam Speaker, I applaud the committee. I move to the second thing, Madam Speaker, the population index, and we are using the 2019 population survey. I think I had somebody, I don't know if it was Senator Sifuna or who, yesterday make a comment that what is going to happen to parts of that particular exercise that has been challenged in our courts of law, Madam Speaker. I guess that is for others to determine and other competent institutions. But we know for a fact, Madam Speaker, that that affected a very small part of the country. Not to say that the citizens that live in that corner of the country are less important, but I appreciate that they continue to weight population index at 45%. It's a fairly huge figure, but we must appreciate that at the end of it all, when all is said and done, Madam Speaker, these services are being sent out to people. Therefore, any county that is densely populated, such as a county that I come from, this county of Senator Moses Kajwang, where we just come from after Madaraka Day, Madam Speaker, with all the energy that they have, and all these colleagues that come from densely populated counties, Madam Speaker, are not disadvantaged, because we must appreciate it. All these so-called devolved services, Madam Speaker, are actually a factor of human beings. If you have more people in your county, then you need a higher percentage of resources, Madam Speaker, to ensure that you deliver drugs in hospitals, you're able to pay health workers, you're able, Madam Speaker, to employ agricultural extension officers. Therefore, I am a firm believer in the weight of population being still maintained as the highest. Actually, if you study, it has been granted the highest weight at 45%, Madam Speaker. I know there are connotations here and there, because at the heart of the debate last time when you did the third generation formula, Madam Speaker, there was a conversation about counties that are least populated. And in fact, people, including leaders in this House at that particular time, made certain remarks that were considered offensive to counties with a smaller population. But I still insist, Madam Speaker, that in the same way that our colleagues from smaller sized counties are asking us to bear with them, they should also bear with us with regards to the weight allocated, Madam Speaker, to population as a factor of the formula. It's extremely important, because services are actually a factor of the number of human beings that live in a particular county. Number 3, Madam Speaker, is poverty index. This is where I disagree with our committee. And I said it when we had our amendment here, that part of the reason we want our counties to succeed is that we hope that they will learn from the national government, copy the things that have succeeded in the national government, and also learn from the mistakes of the last 60 years with regards to how we have managed the economy and this country, and all the 5 administrations that have run this particular country, Madam Speaker. Poverty index is important because it addresses the issue of marginalization and counties that have been left behind. But let's face it, 15 years into the devolution cycle, we should begin to motivate counties actually to be inculcators or hubs of growth, Madam Speaker, where counties that we notice good fiscal effort that eventually translates to growth, Madam Speaker, there should be a percentage of it going to reward. Actually, when we had our breakfast meeting with CRA last time, Senator Moses Kajwang, if you recall, there was a big debate that you are rewarding actually bad habits. And they argued and said it is through disenfranchisement and decisions that have been made over the last 50 years. And we said, okay, that's fine. If you want to give the weight of poverty index at 18%, at least shave 2 or 3% to motivate counties that are doing better, so that they earn from a kitty, and knowing that if your fiscal prudence is worth being emulated by other counties, Madam Speaker, you should be rewarded. Fiscal discipline, Madam Speaker, is the number one thing, the number one threat actually of our county governments and the success of devolution. So long as a county government continues to spend more than half of their resources in paying salaries, Madam Speaker, they will continue to score high on the poverty index. Then you want us to weight them and grant them this amount of resources, Madam Speaker? I disagree with the committee. And I had hoped that Senator Omogeni and our colleagues that are moving us to make an amendment that as you urge us to consider you, that at least you will factor the decisions and the thoughts that had gone yesterday during the Kamkunji, where colleagues were saying, at least let us find a way of rewarding good governance practice in this formula, the same way CRA had proposed to us in the third generation formula. Fiscal effort was being rewarded. Counties that get good certification out of audit reports, Madam Speaker, were being rewarded because you are actually encouraging counties to grow. Counties that meet their targets on on-source revenue, Madam Speaker. Counties that budget and maintain a balanced budget. Counties that observe, Madam Speaker, their pending bills and ensure that they are within the reach and they are manageable to levels that are prudent, Madam Speaker, are the counties that in the next 5 to 10 years you will begin to see growth. The county gross domestic product of those counties will begin to edge over others. It will be possible for the people of Siaya to see the difference with the people of Homa Bay, for the people of Bomet to see the difference with the people of Kericho, based on the decision they have made the last 20 years or so, Madam Speaker. If we don't motivate our counties and set the criteria upon which, Madam Speaker, we reward county governments that perform better, then we are being unfair to the country, Madam Speaker. That is a mistake that was made. We are actually in a World Bank program. Many times we come to this house, Madam Speaker, Senator Mogeni is pleading to inform me. I do not mind, Madam Speaker.
Senator, well, you need to speak, to ask for the opportunity, and then you are granted, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to inform my majority leader. The point is making about rewarding counties that experience fiscal responsibility, that in India, 2.5% is reserved for that effort. So I just wanted him to note that there is a jurisdiction called India that gives a lot of regard to fiscal responsibility. They actually call it fiscal responsibility and the tax effort, meaning on source revenue. So I fully agree with you.
Very good information, which you need to use, Senator Mogeni, because you are the owner of this amended motion. Shave this poverty index from the proposed, what is it? What is the percentage? I'm trying to, 12%. Let us have it at 9 or 10. CRA had proposed 3% to us. We didn't agree with them last time, but I believe, colleagues, that we must reward good behavior in our counties. I want to plead with each one of you that let us find a percentage, and we could even borrow from the guidance of CRA from the third generation formula of ensuring that our counties and county governments that manage their resources better are encouraged. Because I was speaking to the point, Madam Speaker, that we are in a World Bank and all these IMF programs, they are telling us, you know, fiscal consolidation. They are telling us reduce corruption. That's why they want us to pass conflict of interest bill. They are saying consolidate this or the other. But at the heart of that conversation, the most important thing that they keep on informing us, Madam Speaker, is that keep your eyes on growth. If growth becomes your primary target, it answers all these challenges. People begin to complain less about being pressed by the tax burden. If you are able to show demonstrable growth, Madam Speaker, then people appreciate and they know that which you are doing. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, like I have said to my colleagues from the 11 counties, persuade us better. But on count of rewarding good behavior by our counties, the place to pinch from is on the poverty index. I appreciate, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Senator Kajwang, and for the senators who will be speaking, remember we are discussing the amendment motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I spoke to the main motion, and I'm glad to speak to the amended motion. Madam Speaker, let me start with the good news. The good news, and Kenyans and the residents of the 11 counties should know, that the 11 senators coming from these 11 counties have so far convinced the Finance Committee and this House to ring-fence 2 billion Kenya shillings towards their counties, to be shared equally. And Senator Sotsi, you must tell the people of Vihiga that the first 2 billion shillings that was ring-fenced was as a result of your lobbying. Senator Mwaruma, you must tell the people of Taita Taveta that you got them 2 billion shillings more to be shared out equally amongst the 11 counties. On that, I must congratulate the 11, because what brought them together were not geographical features or political commonalities, but the desire for their people to get more resources. To that extent, I want to congratulate the 11, led by Senator Omogeni, for bringing so far at least 200, close to 200 million Kenya shillings to Nyamira, because the original 2 billion that was ring-fenced in the original report by the committee, if it shared out equally, would translate to almost 200 million Kenya shillings. 181, which is not small money, Madam Speaker. 181 is capable of building probably 90 ECD classrooms. And if you make them ECD centers, you can have as many as 50 ECD centers. That is not small money. And the voters, the people in these 11 counties must know that their senators are here, they are robustly working hard to ensure that they get more resources. Madam Speaker, there's a little bit of a problem in the proposed amendment. Remember, Bob Marley said, give them a yard, they take a mile. We have given them 2 billion. They want 4.46 billion. We've given them a yard, let them not take a mile. But, Madam Speaker, this conversation would have been fit, proper, and very appropriate if we knew how much money was available for distribution. Right now, we are speculating. We said 460-something billion. The National Assembly said 405 billion. The political class says 450 billion. Madam Speaker, last night, governors were in State House, all of them, including those who failed to appear before committees. Some of them said they were sick, and we saw them at State House. We shall deal with them. We shall find them. We shall use images of State House to put them in their place. But at State House, they discussed a lot of things. But when you get information, the president was telling them about the limited fiscal space. The president was doing a soft launch on 405 billion. Madam Speaker, we'll be here fighting as a Senate for 450 billion, but our principal customers, who are the governors, have already been softened to accept 405 billion. Madam Speaker, this is a house where no one can take me to court for what I say here. The argument is as follows. You see, we in the broad-based wing of ODM are saying 450 billion, nothing less. And so the calculation is simple. 405 billion in DORA, and then increase conditional grants to 45 billion. You have 450 billion. My deputy party leader will not reject that one, because we said 450 billion to counties. It can go as equitable share. It can go as conditional grants. Ladies and gentlemen, this debate, if this formula does not sit on the critical path of DORA, I want to encourage the leadership and the 11, the gallant 11, and the Finance Committee. Let us shelve this debate. We see how much money we have. And then we have these clever arguments when we know what is on the table. Madam Speaker, if we have 405 billion on the table, then 4.46 billion is taking a mile from a yard. If we had 450 billion, then we don't even need to ring fence, because automatically all of us are going to benefit. It will be like a rising tide that lifts all boats. Everyone is going to get more than 6 billion Kenya shillings. Madam Speaker, I believe this is a premature debate, and if we are going to commit ourselves today, then even us from the other 36 counties will be asked why we were not as gluttonous as Senator Maruma, why we didn't fight for our counties to get more. But for our counties to get more, it means other counties are getting less. And that is not the concept of equity that this House is out to advance. Madam Speaker, now that the debate is with us, and I've said it would have been neater to first conclude DORA, but allow me to say the following. The money that goes to counties is not just the equitable share that we appropriate or we approve through DORA. We also have the additional allocations that we send to counties. And Madam Speaker, what we must fight for as a House is realization of the constitutional rights and entitlements of local communities and counties, for example, Kwale and Taita Taveta. Mineral royalties. Kwale was supposed to get close to 1.7 billion or maybe 1.2 billion Kenya shillings from mineral royalties. Every Kenyan knows that base titanium has been digging titanium from Kwale and sending to China or to other markets or to Australia, wherever it is. Kwale has never received a cent out of mineral royalties. Taita Taveta, Madam Speaker, has a lot of critical minerals in the soil. We should be pushing for realization of that revenue rather than fighting over whether to ring-fence 2 billion or 4 billion. Madam Speaker, we should also be looking at on-source revenue. One of my best counties in terms of fiscal responsibility is a county represented by Senator Kinyua. And Madam Speaker, out of Laikipia, we have seen some good success stories. I hope it will be sustainable. And I hope when Governor Kinyua takes over, he will sustain the momentum that past governors have put in place. Laikipia has an on-source revenue of 1 billion Kenya shillings. 1 billion Kenya shillings. And they're calling themselves a small county. Why are you calling yourself a small county if you can generate 1 billion Kenya shillings in on-source revenue a year? The same as Homa Bay, the mighty Homa Bay. Madam Speaker, so why would we say that we need these counties to get 6 billion when Laikipia is already having 6 billion? One of the most creative proposals that came to this House was a proposal for an infrastructure bond that was brought by Laikipia. They had figured out the projects they wanted to do, they knew how much it was going to cost, and they knew how they were going to finance it, because they had on-source revenue of about 1 billion. So they could focus in the future that given 4 or 5 years, they could go to the markets and borrow 5 billion or 10 billion Kenya shillings, and they knew how they were going to repay it. Those are the avenues we should be encouraging these counties to pursue. Madam Speaker, I feel very pained on behalf of Senator Omogeni. Already he has convinced us to ring-fence 2 billion. Already. 187 million is going to Nyamira. Whether they have 2 assemblies or 3 assemblies. Already he has convinced us. Whether the governor has a degree or not, already he has convinced us. Whether the governor is doing a good job or not, already he has convinced us. But Senator Omogeni, I would be very hesitant to give you a further 200 million shillings. For it to be spent by 2 assemblies, some sitting under a tree and another one sitting in somebody's residence. Madam Speaker, I will not accept.
Senator ML, what's your point of order?
Nyamira is my neighboring county, just same as Homa Bay. We share a border. Therefore, allow me to speak on their behalf when their senator is faced with the difficult situation of retorting back to Senator Kajwang and therefore push him further away from his amendment and defending the rights of the people of Nyamira. Is it in order, Madam Speaker, for my good friend Senator Kajwang to disparage actually the entire people of Nyamira based on their conduct of some of their leaders? We have been in this House, Madam Speaker, when there have been bad habits, including from his Homa Bay County. They used to have a governor who, when it came for time to appear before PAC, Madam Speaker, he will put on some specs and says he's not seeing the figures well, Madam Speaker. That never, even with that, Madam Speaker, we never denied Homa Bay funds, Madam Speaker. So I want to plead with Senator Kajwang that he can pursue his point without having to disparage an entire county, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Senator Kajwang, do you want to retreat a little on the comments you have made?
Madam Speaker, that motion was before the House just 3 weeks ago. And it was brought by the Devolution Committee and a committee of the House. And Senator Omogeni again moved an amendment to that motion. But, Madam Speaker, I think the point is that they are bad habits. And I agree with the majority leader.
Senator Kajwang, what you're explaining to ML is that Senator Kajwang did not speak about the entire people of Nyamira. Correct. He spoke about 2 assemblies, and that is factual.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Because the interest of counties and their government is sometimes different from the interest of their governors or the interest of their leaders. And our job as a Senate is to defend the interests of counties and their governments rather than the interests of their governors. Madam Speaker, the fiscal responsibility measure, I would be happy to approve this amendment if I was convinced that there was a way we were going to reward good behavior and we are going to punish errant behavior. If we don't have that option in this formula, I would be very hesitant to give much more money to some of the counties here. Isiolo is on the schedule of the 11 counties. Madam Speaker, Isiolo, I said in the substantive debate, is not a small county. Isiolo is designated as a capital and the center of gravity of Kenya. So you can be a big county, but with a small leadership mindset at the top. And that's what makes you look like a small county. And Madam Speaker, I would be very hesitant that if a county like Laikipia, which I've described to be very fiscally responsible, was to get 400 million more out of this formula, that even the irresponsible ones will be getting the same amount, unless we had a formula for differentiation. Madam Speaker, we must increase the pie, because if it's 405 billion, then we will be confirming to those who think that the Senate is also playing small. We have the opportunity, we have the instruments, we have the duty to ensure that we support devolution, and that support is through increasing the allocation to our counties. Madam Speaker, when we talk of 450 billion, we are not saying go and take the budget from State House. We are not saying go and get the budget from the Deputy President's empowerment programs. We are not saying go and get the budget from the national security. We are talking about functions that have already been assigned to counties that continue to be held at the center. And they are clear. The roads function, the water function, the health function, the agriculture function, the libraries, museums, etc. Madam Speaker, if you cost them, then the 500 billion that governor is asking for would be the number. But the governors were having dinner at State House last night, and they have already been softened to 405. So, Madam Speaker, let's revisit this conversation once that matter is concluded. The danger we run, Madam Speaker, is that today you have a caucus of 11 counties. I don't know what unites them, because they are not neighbors, they are not culturally coherent, they are not small, because some of them have got very serious leaders in this house. I think what unites them is their hunger for more money for their people. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is why you came to Nairobi, to fight for your people. But, Madam Speaker, the risk is this. Tomorrow, Senator Eddie Oketch and I will move an amendment as a caucus of blue economy counties and say that let us ring fence a further 4 billion to the 11 listed blue economy counties. Secondly, the third day, counties with a high HIV prevalence, high HIV burden, which was softened through USAID and American aid, it has fled. We could bring a legitimate argument on the floor of this House, and we could say there are 5 or 6 counties that have high HIV prevalence and the data is there. And we say ring fence 5 billion to help us put in place interventions following the flight of American aid. Next, you will have another caucus of counties affected by desert locust. And they will tell you that the desert locust is coming this year. And so Senate ring fence another 2 billion. The additional 17 billion will have been ring fenced to special caucuses and special lobbies. And Senator for Kakamega will have nothing to say unless he's going to build a caucus of bullfighters or a caucus of maize consumers, so that they say they also need another 4 billion shillings to be ring-fenced for them. Madam Speaker, even though this is a legitimate route to legislation, it is a dangerous route of legislation because it is no longer law-making, it is deal-making. Madam Speaker, I would support the original 2 billion ring fence.
Senator Kajwang, do you want to be informed by Senator Mogeni?
Yes, I would like to be informed.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to inform my good friend, Senator of Omobe, that the reason why we have put 387 as the baseline is to save 8 counties that were going to lose money, including, Madam Speaker, a county that is at the risk of losing 2.2 billion if we go by the formula of, by the formula of the committee without using 387 as the baseline. So affirmative action has already been incorporated in the formula by putting 387 as a baseline in order to save 8 counties from losing. And Nyamira is not one of them. But we are accepting that baseline collectively as 47 senators to protect the 8. So the 11 caucus is also another affirmative action to protect the ones which are at the bottom, because the 8 that are being protected are at the top. So this concept, I just wanted to inform the senator that the affirmative formula is already in this particular formula.
Madam Speaker, I hear the senator. I might want to make a further amendment, and I think I'm going to file a further amendment that of the ring fence 4.46 billion, we amend it to include 12 counties, to include Homa Bay County. And therefore, I will be very happy to report to my people that I've delivered some 400 million. But let me conclude by saying this, Madam Speaker. If we are honest with each other, the third generation formula, which split this house right in the middle, held harmless the so-called small counties, because we froze 158 billion and said that 158 billion was not going to be subjected to the new formula. The proposed fourth generation formula, the Senator Roba formula, has held harmless the so-called small counties by freezing or ring-fencing 387 billion. The group of 11, the G11, has further convinced the House to hold harmless by ring-fencing 2 billion. Madam Speaker, that is sufficient. But if we had 450 billion, we would all be able to go home smiling that we have increased the allocations to our counties. Madam Speaker, let us also think about not just the conditional grants, let us think about the equalization fund and look at how it's distributed amongst these counties. Some of these counties have had historical cases of marginalization, and so you might find that there is a bigger allocation of the equalization fund to mitigate some of these shortfalls that we are talking about. Let us also ask ourselves the effect on per capita allocation. If we do this mathematics, this bottom-up equation that we are trying to do here, you will end up with a high per capita allocation in Isiolo compared to Kakamega. And then the senator for Kakamega or Homa Bay will have to struggle to explain to the people who elected him why Isiolo or why Tharaka Nithi has the highest per capita allocation and not the counties that we represent. We are here for purposes of equity. Further, Madam Speaker, the proponents of this amendment need to give us simulations, because this is not something you just talk about heavy. You need to tell me that if you move from 2 billion to 4.46 billion, therefore Homa Bay is losing 100 million or is gaining or is holding constant. Without that visibility, Madam Speaker, it would be extremely dangerous for any senator in this House outside the group of 11 to support this amendment when you do not know what impact it's going to have on your county. Madam Speaker, I finalize by urging the leadership, the Finance Committee, if you put this matter to the vote this afternoon or today, perhaps it will be lost, and perhaps it was a good idea. But let's first understand how much money we have at our disposal. And to the governors, you cannot use this Senate only when it is convenient. We have governors who refuse to appear before our committees. But when they hear that there is a pie being shared somewhere, all of a sudden, even the ones who are sick find their way to State House. I want to say shame on those governors who escape accountability, but want to hang on the Senate or want to criticize the Senate when it comes to allocation of resources. It is the duty of Senate and the National Assembly to determine the allocation of revenue between national and county governments.
Give him 1 minute to finish what he was saying.
President Ruto, this is what we mean when we talk about being faithful to the Constitution and devolution. Talk to the right institutions that have the constitutional mandate. The Council of Governors is nowhere in the Constitution when it comes to division and allocation of revenue. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Halwade.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, This motion before us reminds me what my teacher of English, who taught me the art of smart negotiation, told me many years ago. He warned us that give someone an inch and they will take a mile. Those are not my words. The late Edward Adwanyiga, the man who taught me English. Madam Speaker, I'm saying this because I am one of the proponents of this affirmative action. And when we did it as a committee, we carefully looked at quantum. And I'm impressed that young Moses has captured the principle of quantum. That if it is 2 billion, it makes sense. But if you just open it up, it will end up disenfranchising other counties. And I want to beg the 11 senators. We've given you an inch. That makes a huge difference. Please don't attempt to take a mile by asking for 4.6. Let us do this because, Madam Chair, the Constitution of Kenya leaves no lacuna on how the money should be shared, both in the letter and in the spirit. The letter is very clear. It is the principle of equity and not equality. So as to buttress it further into the spirit of the Constitution, Madam Speaker, we have said, let the equal share be increased, but not be a threat to the principle of equality. We've done it in this fourth formula. Madam Speaker, in the eye of the Senate, through the committee, we have said, let no county lose. And we have said, let no county be left behind. So, Senator Mugeni, the mover of the motion, let me take you to just 2 examples. Okay? The eye of the committee is saying that let us not leave these 11 committees behind. Let's hold their hands. You've done it. We have held your hand. In this simulation, look at county number 35, Nyandarua. Young Methu is not here. He's busy in Wamunyoro, but I can speak for him. Somebody I wish could remind him that go to Wamunyoro when Senate is not sitting. This is where you have the highest political platform in the country, far more than in the funerals where some of us speak, in the bullfighting arena where we speak, in the Harambes where some of us rarely go because we don't have the money, and, Mr. Speaker, not in Wamunyoro. I have not touched you. What is out of order?
What's your point of order, Mundigi? Senator Mundigi, sorry.
Bwana Spika, nataka kusema Bwana Karware, aidha mtu ni wa Munyoro ama ni wa chama gani, tukiwa hapa tuo county 47. Kwa hivyo kama Senator ayuko hapa, Senator wa Murang'a amesema
Senator Mundigi.
Nataka ni yes.
Senator Mundigi, can you explain what you're saying? What is Munyoro wa Munyoro and what is your point of order?
Ni Senator Karware amesema mambo ya hii county 11 tunataka tuongezewe pesa, na county senator wengine hawa 11 wengine wako kwa Munyoro. Sasa nataka nimwambie tuo county 47 hatuko mambo ya Munyoro ama si wa Munyoro, hiyo ndio nataka nimfahamishe.
Senator Khalwale, can you withdraw your reference to Wamunyoro? We don't know, this house does not know what that means.
In fact, Madam Speaker, I wish I had commenced my debate in Swahili. Madam Speaker, if you allow me quote unquote, pengine kama ningefanya hivyo, Mheshimiwa Seneta wa Embu angenielewa.
Senator Khalwale, I'll give an exception to this. Can you explain in Kiswahili for the Senate?
Madam Speaker, Mheshimiwa Seneta wa Embu angenielewa. Sikuwa nafanyia seneta wa Nyandarua madharau. Nilikuwa nataka kumkumbusha kwamba, kwa sababu he's a new member, kwamba agenda kubwa ya nchi ya kaunti, kama unataka kusukuma, nafasi yenye unapewa katika bunge ya Kenya ni kubwa kuliko ile unapata nyumbani. Ndio nikatumia jina wa Munyoro, badala ya Munyoro ningesema Malinya huko kwetu, Madam Speaker. So anielewe, sio kumtania.
So Wamunyoro refers to a place?
To a village, just like Malinya, Wishiangala.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you. So,
Senator Morango.
Mr. Speaker, nadhani pia ni makosa. Na unajua Waswahili husema samaki wote hunuka lakini wanamshuku kambari. Kiongozi wangu Bwana Khalwale kuna siku ambayo hakuangi pia kwa Senate kwa sababu tofauti. Kama juzi alikuwa na mtoto mdogo na sikumuona huku. Mr. Speaker, wakati Senator wa Kakamega kiongozi wetu akisema kwamba Senator Medhu ako wa Munyoro na hajaambiwa na Mheshimiwa Medhu kama kwa Munyoro ama kwa sehemu zingine, kwa sababu najua mahali yako na sio Munyoro. Ni haki kweli, kwa sababu si vizuri kusema Senator Medhu ameenda wa Munyoro akakosa kuja katika bunge la Senate. Kuna watu wanaomchagua na wanatusikiza siku ya leo.
Senator Khalwale, to the extent that you have suggested that a particular senator is in a place called Wamunyoro, please withdraw and continue with the debate.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw the word Wamunyoro. So, Madam Speaker, speaking on behalf of the great people of Nyandarua, if we go by the simulation, I was appealing to the senator of Nyamira, because it is arbitrary, it is not scientific. Since you have left out Nyandarua in your arbitrary selection of 11 counties, you are adding these 11 counties 405 million, and in the process, the formula that affords Nyandarua to move at its own pace, you have now made it to drag behind the other counties simply because you did not play affirmative action. Don't do it. We've given you an inch, accept it, don't demand for a mile. Madam Speaker, relax, Nyamira. Madam Speaker, I say this with absolute respect to all the 47 counties of Kenya. And Madam Speaker, I therefore want to appeal to colleagues that the route for us to go, having accepted 2 billion as affirmative action, the route for us to go is to focus on the national economy. It performs better, there be better physical management, so that more money is available for sharing, and so that counties can perform better on on-source revenue. Allow me to appeal to the governor and senator of the following counties. 1, Kisumu. 2, Homa Bay. 3, Siaya. 4, Busia. 5, Migori. You have an opportunity like no other county in Kenya to grow your own source revenue because of the God-sent gift of Lake Victoria. I would be appealing to the Senate to allow the senators of these counties, Madam Speaker, for a trip. You can choose to go to Finland, or choose to go to Estonia, or go to Sweden, or go to Norway. You see how they play with their legs. When I was last in Estonia, many years ago, one of the things you cannot afford to leave is that because you have a sunken visa, they allow you to keep on shifting between Estonia and Finland and Norway without any disturbance. And you pay a very small fee for the cruise ships. In those cruises, they have capacities of 400, 600, 800 people. And Madam Speaker, they are forever full. And the little money that they make there, they have perfected the blue economy there in terms of transport. I live and pray that you guys from those, youth leaders from those counties, you take advantage of Lake Victoria. We want to see cruise ships from Kisumu to Homa Bay, to Kendu Bay, to Seaport, to Port Victoria, to Entebbe, to Bokafu, and to Mwanza. You will make billions of shillings out of on-source revenue. That's the route to go. Don't fight for this little 2 billion shillings that this Senate wants to gift you. Madam Speaker, I want to agree with the Senator of Homa Bay when he says, if we start fellowships amongst counties, we can start a fellowship with the Vihiga County, Taita Taveta County, Homa Bay County, Kakamega County, and Marsabit County, where we have serious mineral resource. And we will demand that we want affirmative action. The amount of gold in Kakamega is so serious, Madam Speaker, that the President and his government, in his wisdom, they have decided for all the gold that will be mined in Kakamega, in all the gold mining counties of Kenya, and in all the gold mining countries of East Africa, the refinery will be built at Mulidambisa in Ekolomani, and that construction is ongoing. We need, Madam Speaker, to speak louder to this, because the old leadership wants to confine us in small talk, like the talk of 405 billion shillings, when we should be talking about bigger resource that we can share as a republic. Madam Speaker, the issue of sharing, I have told you, if they make us to think small, they disrupt our thinking big. Look, why can't we sit our governors, or we take over as governors, and think big the way in 1965 Singapore did think big? They had a very small economy, but because of thinking big, they were able to make simple decisions of governance, like human resource. The president said, we are not going to hire you for any other reason. We will hire you because of competence. In Kenya today, like many other failing African countries, we should change professionals so as to hire relatives, so as to hire friends, so as to hire members of our families. The end result, Madam Speaker, is that our professionals working in the same system who are denied promotion, they become disenfranchised and they don't perform. We have a great chance today. We have got over 40 universities churning out young, brilliant professionals. I dream and hope to live to see a country where a youth can be able to apply online, and purely because of the content of his academic excellence, he is able to defeat the son of Dr. Khaluari, who he beat in the university. Even when Khaluari is the senator of Kakamega, the child gets the job ahead of mine. And I say that with equal appliance to the children of all the senators in this house today, and all the ministers, and even the president. We want our children to compete equally, because if a child is good, he's good. It's just like running a 100-meter race, Senator Osotsi. You will either run under 10 seconds because you are Ferdinand Omanyala, or you will not. Let our children compete. That is the essence of fairness, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to beg the leader of the majority. Leader of majority, you have been very persuasive 2 times in your contribution about rewarding performance. I agree with you. That is the way it should be. But you are dealing with crooks. This is not the first time we have tried to recognize and reward physical effort. You know how they responded? When they discovered that we were using on-source revenue, they then said, we want to look like from the previous year to the current year, we improved so as to attract that funding. So what did they do? They say, my county has the potential to raise 300 million.